Welcome to another edition of From the Great Beyond. This is part 5. We're joined by the normal cast as always. We have
Mikey here.
Franco.
King J.
Brody.
Psych Nephilim.
Psych Nephilim. Man, shout out everybody who's been tuning in. You know, you guys did get us into the top 200 of the Apple podcast for a day. So let's keep hitting those likes and the 5-star reviews and keep downloading this shit. Tell your friends about it.
Please and thank you.
Please and thank you.
Yeah.
But man, I took some Kratom earlier. That shit got me feeling good. I've never tried it before.
You look relaxed.
Kratom?
Kratom?
Kratom.
Kratom.
They use it to help. The benefit is to help people recovering from opioid addiction. They get on like a regimen of Kratom, supposed to help the cravings. And
I
get
just
through
saw
the
a
day.
documentary about it.
So there's levels. So I was reading, if you just want to like be chill, you know, a little giddy, laughy, you take like 2 or 3 grams.
Mhm.
And like if you want it as a pain reliever, you take 10 grams. So it has levels, you know. So
Didn't a guy, so on the little documentary I saw, it was on Vice.
okay.
But I believe this guy went to jail because he was servicing that Kratom in his house. And he was taking like heroin addicts and getting them on this Kratom, and within like six weeks or 6 months they were like free.
I think it was 6 months. Yeah, it's like a program.
Yeah, and oh, is that it? Oh snap! Let me see this.
Yeah, I just took 3 pills and then that hit me quick,
Costa
bro. With
Kratom.
My mom takes those.
Kratom is good for you.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's not good for you, but I don't know if it's good or bad.
Yeah, I was
for
gonna
you.
say,
I can't say shit, you know.
But there's supposed to be positivity to being able to replace heroin or
See, I don't
Vicodin or
think
whatever.
it's
on
probably
a slow come-off.
like not really good for you, but it's probably good for people that have been using all those drugs like that. This is like
no, but
big-time-
people use it that don't. Like
Okay.
Joe Rogan takes it before he works out. So does Brandon Shaw, because it says they could go forever, bro. Because it also gives you, it's like I compare it to a
boost
cup
of
of,
stamina.
I compare it like a cup of coffee without the jitters.
Yeah, you've been extra relaxed. Like you don't have one wrinkle in your forehead. Your face is that relaxed.
Yeah, it is. I like that.
Yeah, I think that's right though. I think there's a lot of different ways people are using it.
And so this guy, he went to Africa to go get this formula, and they do rituals to it, and so there's different levels, like you said, and I think the deepest level, it's like 100% illegal here, but they take it over there, and it's like a spiritual thing where they could clean you out and it's like 6
like
days.
how peyote is.
Yeah,
Like how that's it's
something.
illegal.
Oh
but
yeah, definitely
but it's
illegal.
highly, it's a religious
Yeah,
substance.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a tropical plant, I believe. They use the extract or the leaves or the leaf extract, and then they grind it into powder form. And I mean, this fool got a little powder pack from Champs at Las Vegas.
Yeah, we got it at the show in Las Vegas for the smoke shops and stuff. You know,
I've been to Champs.
What brand are we working with? Because I like this. So
It's
if people want to look into them,
Costa Kratom.
Costa Kufis. Costum Kratom. So that's Kosta Kratom. So check them out. This shit got me feeling relaxed. And I'm drinking coffee with this, so I don't know if that's a double whammy or what.
Right.
And smoking.
Yeah, so shout out everybody who listened to last week's episode. We covered some ground, a lot of shit. A couple of things I could remember that really stuck to my mind was that harvest of the organs that Miguelito was talking about.
That was trippy.
And it's happening in our backyard pretty much, down the street. It's
In our zip code.
Yeah, Julio looks back there, bro. He hears bodies and shit fucking blowing up.
Yeah, and then that telescope, that kind of had me pretty wild. They
Yeah.
were
That's
able
scary.
to get in with the University of Arizona, and somehow the Vatican's the main money behind that. That was
That's
wild.
crazy
Yeah.
right there.
I was fucking looking at pictures of it, bro. It's like a big old. I use it as the thumbnail for the episode.
Oh,
that's
the
sick.
telescope.
Yeah, it's a fucking.
So
we should
yeah,
take
so
a
how you
drive.
were talking about that telescope showing that like what it could show and what it could see.
Yeah.
So I was telling them about a news story that they found a new planet that's called G7, I believe.
Yep.
And what they're doing right now is they actually and I'm thinking it's that telescope. They use the telescope, saying that they have it where you can use that telescope to see life that they've already seen on that planet.
Wow.
So they said that they're gonna start releasing those photos onto
Yeah.
the internet pretty soon, so people can see it themselves.
And who
So-
better to have the photos than the main players? You know.
Exactly.
You have control over that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So they haven't released them because they're probably trying to figure out, well, how should we release it? Like, what should we show that we
Yeah.
saw in there? You know what I mean? Like, they don't want to just release all the photos, everything you saw. Like,
How are we gonna Photoshop those joints up?
exactly?
You know?
How are we gonna take stuff out, add shit so people think this and that? Like, yeah, dude.
Dude, you guys see that amateur astronomer who recorded an asteroid hitting Jupiter?
Oh yeah, that was wild. Jupiter got shook.
It got shook.
When was this?
And you see the little blast, dude? They say that blast was the size of Earth.
Yep.
What?
Yeah, some dude recorded it. You see the blast.
An asteroid railroaded into Jupiter.
When was this?
and they
Last
have it
night, I think.
Oh,
I read it
what?
last night, so
Yeah,
it's something super
recent in the last 2 or 3 days.
Oh,
to that
damn.
happening,
I
yeah.
read
And
it
the
last
blast
night.
was the size of Earth.
So they showed a before and after picture, and you can see how like. The
oh, and
impact.
the expansion of it was the size of Earth from the explosion.
Yeah, so he has so he put a video together with all the frames. He said he had to use one frame every 7 frames. That's how close. Look, large object slams into Jupiter. So Franco's playing the video right now. Let's give him some sound. See
It
this.
says likely an asteroid impact Jupiter on August 7th. Astrophotographer Ethan Chappell was.
He was so this guy studies Jupiter, so that's why he was focused in.
He looks
Look
at
at the
Jupiter
slow
all day,
motion.
every
So,
day.
Right.
so there's see
Oh,
right there.
that little mark.
So that's the size of Earth right there, bro. That impact.
That's what Jupiter is.
It looks like a speck to Jupiter.
Other impacts have been seen from Earth, including this one from 2016.
So that's crazy, right? Like
Yeah,
the
that's
telescopes they
amazing,
have.
dude. Yeah.
I wonder how much a telescope like that's running us.
Oh, I'd say like
$10.
$500,000 probably easy, dude.
Half a
think so?
million children.
$500,000.
Half a
They're,
million.
they're the ones that are powering it.
Children. They're the ones that are powering it.
So I wonder what do they do, like tours of the Vatican telescope, or how can we go check it out? That'd be dope.
You can't.
Hell
There's
no.
Nah, you
There's
can't.
no
Their
access in there.
telescope.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the one on Mount Graham, they work with U of A, and it's only certain parts are accessible.
And that's the only way you're going to see it is if you get to go on your astronomy class.
It's
to
like
visit
Area
a
51
few
there.
rooms, yeah.
So
But I don't think they're doing just signing up the public or whatever.
no, and the one guy that did, I never said his name last time, so I'll go back and get his name. But the one guy that did go to Mount Graham and he talked to a guy and he let him in, and then that guy took him to the main room and got him a person that pretty much just walked up to them and gave him a tour. So
Damn.
yeah, it's crazy.
So that would be interesting. I mean, I guess we don't know. It would be worth a little drive out there or a couple phone calls, you know.
Yeah, we do want to drive up there though, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I like that.
Where?
To out to Graham, down to
Oh.
Tucson.
There's I went there a couple years ago. A friend was buying a gift for his partner, and it was a big like $500 telescope, and they may be the people to talk to. If anybody would know how to actually get in there, they might. I'm pretty sure they would know.
Yeah, or somebody affiliated with the school.
Yeah.
They obviously have
Oh
access.
shit, dude! One of Desiree's friends has a. That's what he does, bro. He just sits there and takes pictures of fucking the skies with this expensive ass telescope. So
Yeah.
maybe we could get that fool in here and he could school us and
Oh,
tell
yeah,
us.
he probably knows a lot more about it.
Yeah.
And telescopes in general, too.
And he's probably seen some wild shit out there, bro.
Yeah, the unique thing about that telescope specifically is how it shoots infrared. So that
Wow.
infrared, yeah, that's the
That's its big advantage over the military one. You
Yep.
were saying, right?
over the Hubble.
Over
Hubble.
classic mirrors
Yep.
or whatever. Light and mirrors.
Yeah. So man, shout out to everybody who tuned in last week. If you didn't, go check it out. That's a quick little recap. I mean, we going deep in all kinds of shit. And I was also watching this new documentary series on Netflix last night. I recommend you guys to watch it. It's called The Family. So it shows how this secret Christian group that's been running the White House, bro, since fucking the 60s or some shit. It's maybe the 50s. They've been running the White House, dog. And you guys will fucking trip the fuck. I just watched 2 episodes.
What's it called?
It's called The Family on Netflix. So let's all watch it if we get a chance, and fucking we'll talk about it next week. But it goes deep, bro. It goes fucking deep. You like like the Vatican ain't shit compared to like this little secret group, dog. It's and it's secret. They try to keep it secret, bro, till like 2009. This vato came out because he got caught cheating on his girlfriend. On his wife, I mean, and he threw all these fools. He fucking mentioned the name. He threw it under the bus. So check that out, dude. It's called The Family on Netflix. So, man, you guys hear what happened today?
No, what happened today? I've been busy.
Jeffrey Epstein committed that. He
Found-
offed himself.
Found dead in his cell,
He
hung.
killed himself, dog.
By
No
suicide.
way.
Yeah.
By suicide.
He killed himself, bro. He couldn't handle the vibe.
So I have a question about I was only in jail for 2 days, but I wouldn't know how to hang myself. I don't know how that part doesn't even make sense.
A lot
Doesn't
of
it sound
them.
hard to hang yourself?
Hell yeah.
A lot of them do it off their bed.
But they take like everything you could hang yourself
But
with.
still,
Yeah, and they
Like,
take everything
but
they could hang themselves
Just
with.
without any other facts of the situation being fishy, just sounds hard to hang yourself. Sounds tough, especially in jail where they just don't give you much of anything. So he would have to cut up his blanket, find something. It just all sounds real tough to me.
I mean, well, anything in jail is gonna be tough regardless. But if you really want to get it or do it, you're gonna fucking find a way.
You gotta remember, he is.
just like how they always get drugs in there.
Here's
That's probably like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, here's one thing to say too that's possible. If they didn't want him talking, then they let somebody
Yeah.
hang him. So
Well,
that way.
that's obviously where we're about to take this conversation. I'm just
I
going
think
with
that's
the
where it's
simple
going.
fact of
Yeah.
how do you hang yourself
Yeah.
without even thinking anything else weird about it.
What
Just
about
See,
that?
it could be a
sounds
cover up too.
What
oh
about
well,
that?
I'm,
Yeah,
I'm,
that's
I'm
what we're
yeah,
saying,
I feel that's all I brought
Like
to talk
like
about
somebody
today.
hung him, and then they just left him there, and then guards came in. Oh my God, we found him hung in a
Right.
cell. You
He
know?
was on suicide watch, then he was suddenly off suicide watch, and then this happened.
Why, you think he was going to talk?
Oh, I think absolutely he was
Probably.
going to talk.
That's the way that you get rid of,
Yeah,
like-
they
you
came. Were spilling the beans on like diplomats that he was connected to. Who do we say? Prince Andrew, I believe it was.
Prince Andrew, and
Like-
obviously the Clintons always comes up in those conversations.
Yeah, so I mean,
Bill Clinton.
it was
on
really
that
high.
list.
Like, so I mean, you know,
The
a lot of
D.
powerful people, CEOs, didn't want that information to get out.
But yeah, a lot of business people and or politicians. But it could be out of the business realm. It could be someone we've never even heard of
Yeah.
that doesn't want their name to come up. You know,
Yeah.
because
I'm pretty sure there was notes and.
but
all
after
that
he
too
was
they found.
arrested a month ago,
They said-
websites were already writing. The conspiracy people were already saying this dude's good as dead. So let's wait and see how his suicide
How long?
happens. And it was so I pulled up the article this morning. It was written a month ago, and they wrote it like it had already happened. Epstein commits suicide 2:45 p.m. And then they made a couple jokes like last visitor in his cell, and it had like Hillary with a mustache and sunglasses, and like so they were just making jokes. But then they were like fully like people were expecting that, you know.
Yes, I think I think in a lot of cases in jail, dude, when you have it where people like where the guards or even the warden is talking and like that, like, you know, that person's soon to die, like, you know, I think in those cases when you have wardens that are so corrupted and crooked, I think they like some of the people like they actually like have the guards give inmates shanks and access to kill those people that are just taking up all this money from them when they're only going to be there for like another couple months as it is. You know what I mean? So
And you know, Epstein is a billionaire. He could have slipped a guard a few bucks.
exactly.
Right.
You know, and
To
that guard
take
don't
care
give a
of it.
fuck. He's dead. He'll
Mhm.
never, you know.
Never come out. Never come out.
My only other connection to that was the first time I ever heard about Epstein was about 15 years ago. And when Hunter S. Thompson, the writer, committed suicide,
Yeah.
I heard all these stories that he was going to expose this
The ring.
pedophilia ring in the government and the Lolita Express and the Epstein. And I kind of like played it all off. And now here we are 15 years later hearing about what a real thing that was.
Yeah, real as fuck.
And Hunter S. Thompson, I mean, totally was strung out and lived a crazy life. Totally plausible that he was ready to die and shot himself. But also just really weird that we were hearing that back then and now it's coming out.
Yeah. All at the same time, though, he was going to expose it with a bunch of other people, though, that died, too. So
Like Anthony
Right.
Bourdain and
if you
Chester,
look at Hollywood at that time, Anthony Bourdain, you know,
He's
Chester Bennington,
Chester Bennington.
and they all
then,
hang themselves for some reason.
Chris
right?
Cornell.
the dude from Fast and the Furious, too.
Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
Oh, yeah, Chris
It's-
Cornell.
wait. So what are those theories or what were they doing? What were they working
That's
towards?
I didn't hear it
Conspiracies
either because Paul Walker, I thought that one was like pretty clearly a car wreck. Is there something behind that?
So they show
People
there's
speculate?
there's video
Yeah.
right now that you can see a big old fireball before
the car even.
before it hit the tree.
Yeah.
And
Oh, really?
So what they're thinking is like.
I
Well,
never
they
heard
made-
any conspiracy around that one.
Well, I
Have
heard
you
the
seen-
tires blew up though because they were old, and that car was just like sitting.
Wait, do you
there.
have information, Psych, on what they said?
I could bring it up real quick because I've watched. I mean, I was
I'm
all
curious.
over
I'm
that. Yeah,
curious.
I was over
Jamie?
that. Have you guys?
Hunter S. Thompson was the only one I had to mention, but I did read recently how they said Chester Bennington, Chris Cornell, and I don't know how far or deep you can take it, but Hunter S. Thompson is someone we know was a journalist. We know wrote about crazy shit, you know? And so I thought, like, I've always remembered that since 2006, 2000, whenever, when I thought he was a cool dude or whatever, Mr. Gonzo journalist.
He was on the ins too, so he was in some of those elitist parties, and
Right,
yeah,
like
he
he
was kicking it with a
was
lot of
friends
those.
with
yeah.
crazy famous people, you know?
Yep. All right, let me look.
Here's
So he's like the Joe Seville of modern U.S.
Jimmy
Oh,
Savile.
well, Jimmy Seville, yeah.
Jimmy Savile.
That's gross.
Oh yeah, fuck Jimmy
Well, he
Savile.
was what Gonzo journalism was like a self-proclaimed thing, but it was him writing about his being submersed into the experience, whether it was war or politics, being on the campaign trail and writing about it, his own experience. So it ended up being almost fiction and craziness of what he was going through during that, but then he would be documenting the campaign trail was a really famous one.
Nice.
Here's a quote from Macaulay Culkin. He said, "Hollywood is going to burn in my lifetime." You watch. That motherfucker knows.
That's wild.
He knows.
dude.
He was a kid in Hollywood, bro.
No.
When
You
did he
know?
say that?
Huh?
Was that recently?
Recently, like, he was on, some show. I think on CNN or something. I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, it's a quote he just recently said. Maybe today, maybe he was being interviewed about Epstein's fucking death, but he said it recently. And yeah, that vato knows a lot. He grew up in Hollywood, you know.
Corey
as a kid.
Feldman's another one that
He
talks a
was,
lot about it, and he is so careful to say nothing, but he does know a lot.
Oh, they want to off
Yeah.
that guy, bro.
Hey,
Yeah.
They were both really good friends with Michael Jackson as
Mhm.
well too.
Yeah.
And if you guys know Michael Jackson, before he was gonna die, he was his brother was Muslim, and they were actually gonna start protecting him, and he was about to expose some stuff too, and then that's when they had his doctor just off him.
Michael Jackson's brother.
Michael Jackson's brother, yeah.
Which one, Tito?
No, it's the older brothers. But
That's why he was always rolling with the Nation.
yeah. He was about to expose a lot of the things that he was denouncing, and he was gonna walk away from, and then the Nation was gonna pretty much have like protection for him, and the closest they could get was his doctor. So the doctor injected him with that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I forgot
Yeah.
the name of it.
He had he slow like cardiac arrest.
Yeah, so
basically.
pretty much you just like slowed your heart rate down
Yeah.
so bad where you just went into cardiac arrest and you just flatlined.
Go to sleep.
Well, he was getting sedated every night, right, to crash out.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, dude, he was giving him shots of it like every night for what was it, like a
week?
A week, yeah, dude.
Just so that fool could go to sleep.
Like 5 milligrams, 5 milligrams, 5 milligrams, whatever it was, dude. And then yeah, it was just too much, dude. And
Like that. Imagine
fucking
that,
killed
bro.
him.
Having to take some shit just to sleep. I mean, not just take some shit. That's some heavy shit.
Didn't
bro.
before he died too, he owed people like hundreds and thousands of dollars.
I know that what the ranch and all that was worth wasn't worth what it was said to be worth. It was like in financial.
Okay.
Yeah, but what he did on that they did want to get from
The
him
Beatles?
was the Beatles
Catalog.
He owned all the masters to the Beatles, and also
The Elephant Man
he-
bones.
he owned.
No, for real.
I think so, yeah.
No, that a
he,
couple months before he even died, that he owed a shitload of people money.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, and then that's when like, yeah, that's just I don't know, that's just all
Pretty
crazy.
crazy. Well, this is what they did to Prince. Prince, they basically did a gag order on the family. So if they, like, all of them received a small amount of money, and if they talked about anything about like what was going on, they wouldn't get any money. So they gagged the family, and everybody knows that they got Prince's original music and non-released music, and that's why you see Prince all over iTunes now and in movies. Like you see these references to him, because now they could sell his likeness.
Yeah, exactly.
And they own that now. So I think that's what they wanted from Michael Jackson as well too, and Prince. They wanted those rights back from the Beatles, and they wanted his rights and his likeness, because now you see Michael Jackson on all these pop vinyl figures and all that stuff, and he's no longer like portrayed as the kid fucking molester and stuff. He's like, oh, this is Michael Jackson, greatest pop star ever, and they sell that likeness again, and they sell his music. And it's weird how they make that it's like a it's a hype around a person, and they sell it,
Yeah.
and then if they want to take it away, they just make you seem like
Yeah, it's
you're
the same with
burnout.
R. Kelly. Like, once that whole documentary came out and everything, his sales went up, dude. His album sales went up from that interview. It's like,
Did they really?
Yeah, it should have been the
Did
total
they?
I
opposite.
thought it would have been the reverse.
Exactly, it should have been the reverse, but it's
He,
Chris Brown,
weird.
something.
I was just gonna say, wasn't that with Chris Brown when he fucked up Rihanna? Yeah, and now his album sale just went up. Like,
Dude, everybody's been knowing about all these people, and they're fucking barely even trying to do anything about it. Like R. Kelly, we've known that dude was a fucking freak.
dude.
Yeah,
He's
it's
been
weird how
on.
the rumors go for so long, or most of our lifetime.
Well,
on some of
what's
these.
crazy is because of what they were saying is earlier. The reason why he got off was because the jury was all from Chicago, and everybody from Chicago loves
Like R.
loves
Kelly was royalty.
So they're like,
R&B
oh
royalty.
yeah, he couldn't do that. So, like we did it, the public did it, too, and it wasn't
Well,
just
that's how
fucked up
that's
laws.
what they said about OJ. It was because of the climate at the time, the political climate after the, cops beating on Rodney King and all the things the cops were doing. How were they going to
OJ,
convict
that nigga been in
OJ? It
jail
was
so
more
many
like
times.
just stick together. Yeah.
Dude,
been
R.
in jail.
Kelly offered his brother a record deal if he took the blame for that piss
Yeah,
video.
as a guitarist. Yeah.
I mean, R. Kelly married Aaliyah, bro. He was
Say that
fucking
again?
banging her when she was 15.
Yeah.
Who the
What-
fuck does that shit? You
What
know?
what'd you just say about who?
That's
who
fact.
paid who?
So
and how
he's-
old was he around the time?
R. Kelly,
Yeah.
Twice her
23,
age?
24,
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
oh, you talking about Aaliyah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old was R.
Oh, yeah.
Kelly back
He was
then,
like
you know?
28
in his
already,
20s.
wasn't
I
he?
was saying twice her age. Yeah, but
Maybe 28, but at least 23, 24.
Damn, what?
but no,
Yeah, there's
paying,
no excuse.
paying
That's-
off
That's
people-
known.
There's
Yeah,
no
that's
excuse
well
to
known.
date a 15-year-old if you're fucking that old, bro.
Yeah, bro.
So he would have his in-laws play guitar on the record and then pay them way more than it was actually worth, as like a hush money.
Oh, okay.
Hit him with a few 100,000 or whatever the
Yeah.
number is.
And he said, "Nah, fuck that."
No, the brother
Oh, he
took
did?
it.
Oh, he
Yeah,
did?
No,
Oh.
they all this went on for years and years and years.
He gave
While
him
this
like
is
a
all
record
happening.
deal.
Just kept kind of greasing everybody up, who was
Mm.
close enough to him to know he was a creep.
Yeah, there's
obviously.
a documentary, bro, and his brother's on there, like all these girls from back in the day that fucking slept with him when they were kids. And what's crazy, he has all this shit on film, bro. So the reason the feds went after him,
Stupid.
this vato fucking
Filmed it all.
finally released all the videos, bro, and I think a bunch of his associates got arrested too for covering
For
up.
covering up.
And this is
yeah,
a
dude.
federal case now, bro. This isn't.
That's a federal
Damn.
offense.
yeah.
too,
So
like-
yeah.
But for a while, it was just jokes like, Dave Chappelle made the most famous thing. Off
I
of
wanna
it.
pee on
That's
you.
Yeah.
funny. That was funny when he goes, I saw R. Kelly at the MTV Awards show, and he walked up to me. He's like, man, why you making videos fucking pissing on girls? He's like, nah, why you making
pissing on-
videos on pissing on girls? So, fuck, dude. They've been covering up a lot of shit.
Mhm.
That's, I don't know, after that Me Too movement, they're coming out of the woodwork. And a lot of these girls are older now, too. So, you
Right.
know, back in the day, they couldn't maybe speak about it.
Or was too scared.
Too
dude.
scared.
Yeah,
or
who
he
knows?
paid them. He would pay them. You
It was
know,
probably
to shut the fuck
both.
up.
Too scared and paid them.
Yeah.
You know?
Signed
And
that
they just
paper.
would shut the hell up and shit. You know.
R.
like,
Kelly. I just did the math real quick. They were married in '94. He was
That
born
was when
in
I was born.
'67. So if my math is right, that's 27 years. He
He's
was
twice his
27.
age.
Yeah.
Twice his age, pretty much. That's 30 in my books, you know. 27.
27. You're
You be
about
dating a
But
15-year-old?
they also, it was weird
Half
that they
your
were
age.
marketing Aaliyah that way as so sexual at that young. She got like super popular really fast.
Well, that
And
was
then
R.
she made
Kelly.
it-
They did that with
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Britney
that's
Spears
true. That's
too.
right. I forgot about that.
He was her, like, mentor. So
Yeah, that's a
Kim
good point.
Kardashian.
you do this like that, and we're going to sell more records.
Like
you know?
Right, that's true.
Grooming her.
Yeah,
Yeah,
grooming.
grooming.
her.
Right.
Check this out. Randy Quaid was another big whistleblower. He was.
That's
He
right.
said, according to Hollywood Insider Randy Quaid, there is a problem in Hollywood with a group of star whackers. This group I expose as the Illuminati, and they are. And I don't know how to get to the rest of the story, but stops right there. Well, yeah. So Randy Quaid had a name for this so-called mystery death in Hollywood. He called these people star whackers that were getting like whacked off.
Oh, shit.
Who's Randy Quaid?
He was in movies like one of he was
Cousin
in
Eddie.
Most famously, he was cousin
Eddie. Or I
that's
was
one
gonna
of his
say,
most.
okay, yeah, because that's the
Vegas or
the
National Lampoons.
National
Thank you.
Lampoons. There you go. I was gonna say the 4th of July movie,
Independence Day.
Independence Day.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
He was on those.
Oh,
I'll
that's a
remember
great-
me.
So, yeah,
he
he's
became that character in real life and started doing these, and that's when you lose all credibility because I don't remember if he was drunk or what he was doing, but remember those videos he put out?
Yeah.
And he probably does know some shit though, but who's going to listen to him? you
Now
know?
that he's
'Cause
all
he turned
whacked
into
out,
Cousin
yeah.
Eddie, yeah.
Well, that's what they do to discredit you. They make you look crazy.
Well, he
So,
made himself
He
look
looked
crazy.
crazy already.
Yeah, he already played that character, so we were all used to that. Then he came out with a few videos, just him talking to the camera,
yeah.
just like bloop 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 bloop, like totally whack
Yeah.
him. You know what I mean? Not like just making accusations. I mean, just like acting crazy. you know?
Yeah. No, he was, but I think they put a bigger light on it. You know, they
Oh,
showed
right,
it more
right,
is what
right.
I'm
That's a
saying.
good point.
Because a lot of them fools do crazy shit. A lot of they just because they're just weird people. But yeah, I noticed he was just like blabbering and speaking real like what's Tyrese is another one that went crazy too.
Did he species?
Oh yeah, little
Yeah.
rant.
That
Dude,
fool
he
hates
species-
The Rock, huh? He's always talking shit.
Oh, Tyrese.
Yeah.
I was, it was a good one though. So The Rock went to Tyrese's album release party, and they interviewed The Rock after, and he's all, dude, that shit was a complete piece of shit. All this shit, he was just trashing the album.
Oh, I
Oh,
could hear him
shit.
saying that was
I
just
thought
a
that was
complete piece
fake
of
beef.
shit.
Is that real beef?
No, that's real, because he didn't want those fools to go and make that other movie, but we'll talk about that on the Roach Clip podcast. Make sure to tune in on the Roach Clip. You know.
Yeah, this is the Great Beyond.
This is
Yeah,
from
so,
the Great Beyond, where we talk about real shit.
Speaking back to our last episode when with energy and everything like that, and just different vibrations of the earth and all that
The
you know,
frequencies.
yeah, the frequencies and everything. So I watched a documentary last night on ancient aliens, and yeah, how about the energies. They were saying that like how there's different. They believe how there's different life on different planets. So they were showing the different planets along like this ring that goes around the whole entire sun, and they say each planet has its own different vibration that causes what do they call it, the harmony of the universe, like the harmony symphony of the universe.
I like that. That makes sense.
Yeah, so they were showing the earth like spinning, and then they were showing another planet spinning super
Like each
fast.
one is an instrument.
Yeah, and each one is its own little instrument spinning at its own rotation vibration. So how we were talking about the lizard people,
Yeah.
the owl people, they were speaking on that, saying that the people from those planets where they come from, the vibrations is just what forms their body and just forms it a lot different than what it would on Earth.
Yeah, so it creates different atmosphere.
It creates
So-
different
yeah, so-
atmospheres and different changes to their body that.
So that's what keeps the universe together, right?
Yeah, they're saying, yeah, that's what keeps the universe
Everybody
together.
has its fucking key.
Everybody has its own little keynote. So if one goes out of tune, it fucks everything up, dude. So, yeah, so they were just talking about that, the different vibrations. And I just found it interesting, dude, you know, just them showing, like, their own perspective or their own thought image of what these people would actually look like, and
These
showing
people?
you.
What do you mean these
These are, like,
people?
these lizard people, these owl people, you know, the ones that you guys were speaking about. Yeah, they were saying, the dude was saying that the owl person is like as big as the sky, and it would only come out at the time of night when owls would, and that its face is pretty much like an owl face. No, its whole body is an owl, but it pretty much has like the face of like a person or something, or its face is an owl, but its body is like a person, dude. But
That's
like,
a meth head. All it comes out at night.
Nah, method are
Floating around.
zombies. Drive down Van Buren.
Yeah, owls are interesting little creatures.
And then they were showing like drawings ancient drawings, like they found on like tombs and on pyramids and shit of people drawing these characters, and they had it where it was like a like an Egyptian person,
Right.
but the head was like a bird,
Right.
or like
I've
the
seen a lot
body,
of those in the.
or the body was like a snake and the tail was like the tail of like a lizard or something, dude.
Mhm.
So I think that's just
Yeah, and there's. I'm gonna dig out that Symbolism book with the animals.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
The last two times
Universal symbols.
last
and-
2 times I saw owls, around the time
Third Base dropped
there
the
was
Cactus
2,
album.
there was my dog had died, and my sister's boyfriend had died, and it was really weird because after that happened, I don't remember seeing them, and it was a really weird like experience.
Yeah, they got multiple meanings, like
Owls,
in different places. Like they mean good. They mean like they mean
Protector.
wisdom.
I
and
think in
protectors.
India.
Yeah.
and some parts of China.
Mm-hmm.
You
China.
got some heat on the owls or what?
Yeah, I got some like little stuff I got on them and shit. Like back in ancient Greece, Athena, she was like the goddess of wisdom and all that, and that was her.
Her symbol.
She was an owl. That was her symbolism, and it represented good.
Nice.
But out in like Africa and everything, they represent evil and
evil spirit.
yeah, and death and all that. Like if you see one, it meant that you were gonna
Oh,
die.
it's coming.
That your time was
Bad
coming.
juju.
Yeah,
Mhm,
bad juju.
bad juju and shit. And in the Bible, they call them as wisdom and good. They meant good in the Bible. They're
That's what I always thought
written
of it
by-
now. The
Let me
wisdom
do,
now.
Like, let's say
Yeah.
in a Disney movie, like the one I remember is The Sword and the
oh,
Stone.
I was gonna say that the magic.
Archimedes.
Is that the one with the Myrtle and shit?
But the owl Archimedes.
The shit talking owl. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it, and they pretty much yeah, they're just little crazy little creatures.
Because a lot of people say they're like, what do you call that? Shapeshifters, right?
Yeah.
They're witches, so they can.
Yeah, that too. A lot of them use
A lot of
believe it's witchcraft.
traditions and
Yeah.
cultures believe that. Mexican
Dude,
culture
if
believes in
you
that.
actually see the way an owl can fly and maneuver, they can do it like no other bird in the world. I promise you, no other bird can
Oh,
do
you
it like
Yeah, well, they're a crazy breed of birds, dude.
dude, the way
They
'cause
breeded themselves so they can last all year, dude. In the
And any
and
weather.
through any weather,
Through
in
any
one
weather.
spot, they won't have to migrate. So they became a little they said it's unknown what species they bred together,
that.
but there are 2 bird breeds that breeded themselves like that, and it created them so they can be able to survive on both
They're-
through
they're
I see a
20
little eagle in
through all
predators,
weathers.
yeah, dude. So like,
Yeah, you
one-
know that
these-
does have a big old eagle face if you think about it, huh?
these,
They could do
these
like a full
people-
spin on their head, pretty
Yeah.
much.
Eagle
Oh,
and
yeah,
the
360. They could
eagle and
play
the
around.
penguin is
Like a mix.
Oh, an eagle fucked the penguin. Became this fucking owl.
Yeah,
I
so
like
this
that.
family, dude, I don't know if they owned the owl or like was just training it, part of its trainer. And it was 2 people. They stood about the same distance you guys are, like the same length between their bodies, maybe a little bit closer. And then this boy had on a glove and had on some type of food for it. You could see the owl flying from like a tree way down far, and then comes, dude, sticks his feet out and puts his wings all the way back flat and goes straight through them, like maneuvers through them so crazy, dude, that another bird would have just went around.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have been able to do, dude. It was like, it was amazing. They showed it in slow mo, and like its wings just went like all the way
Yeah.
back, and it just stuck its feet out so it could like glide itself through there. And
playing.
then just wings just came back and just landed.
They're
on the
playing
boy.
X Games.
Hey,
Nice.
I
It's
hope
like
it gained
it-
that on video.
It's like it
Yeah, dude, it
knew
was on
that it
video.
could fit through there too prior
I hope
to
so,
it.
man. I know you saw that acting. Those acting.
It was a freestyle. It looked like an X Games freestyle
Yeah, I've had to
session.
do a
like-
little.
You
free-
gotta
little-
go between these 2 guys. Folded its wings back like Batman.
Yeah, dude. It was amazing. I was like, what? Like, never seen no shit like that before.
Yeah.
They also mean good luck, right? To some
It depends.
cultures.
Some
It-
cultures.
yeah,
Yeah,
it
it all
depends.
varies, dude.
Yeah.
Like everyone.
Like they
thinks
say,
different
hummingbirds
about
are good luck too. If
Yeah.
you see one fly in your yard,
I
I
know.
fucks with owls. I like owls.
yeah,
I know they say though, like I was telling you guys on the previous podcast. I know that white owls actually they're a sign of death. So not all owls are lucky
Yeah,
or
yeah.
considered wisdom. They are also considered in some cultures as a sign of like death. So
yeah, so just like now, I won't have to go through my whole experience, but what ended up happening was that was one of the things I saw was how everything we're talking about, like it's a sign of good, it's a sign of bad, it's death, it's all this stuff. What happened to me though is there's this one particular owl I was seeing in a kind of a really rough part of my life, and what was going on was I saw him so much when I would come home, I named him I just started calling him Albert, and then I'll roll up and was like, "What's up, Albert?" And then kind of when everything got settled down, I hadn't seen the owl and all this other shit, but this was the afternoon and I was leaving my house, and I heard like a rustling, and I thought somebody threw something at me, and Albert had fallen out of the bush right next to my door, and it was funny because they're nocturnal, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
But he looked up at me and I was like, "Oh shit, what up, Albert?" And he just looked at me and he booked it. He just flew and that was it. And that was the last time I ever seen that owl. But the crazy part is, but like I said, that was kind of when I was at peace, when I was resolved with my issues. But that's the point I'm getting at is like that's what I interpret it as. So like all these things of people dying and all this other stuff, it's like that can happen and they can bring it, or just telling you what the inevitable is. But it's what you create from that and during those times. By whatever meaning, right? Whether it's white, brown. In my case, it was a little brown owl. But yeah, I just want to say that.
Yeah. I did some research too with Broly on the owl stuff too, so I got a little something here as well. They say in far more than a few cases, this is research through the mysteriousuniverse.org website. In far more than a few cases of alien abduction, witnesses or victims report something very strange, but which can be found all across the planet. They have seen what they describe as a giant-sized owl staring at them. Then there follows a typically weird and mysterious event, one in which the witness suddenly finds themselves aboard a UFO and subjected to intrusive procedures. For some UFOologists, the most obvious explanation is that the owl is a screen memory. And so, like, just to tell you guys, screen memory, they have it in encyclopedia.com listed as a screen memory, like forgetting and amnesia, is a comprise between repressed elements and defense against them. This is a paradoxical feature of recollections of this kind is they are less childhood memories than memories about childhood, characterized typically by their singular clarity and the apparent insignificance of their content. It's a really hard paragraph to read, man.
That's crazy.
All intelligent words, big words.
It's very big.
That's interesting, though.
But important facts are not retained. Instead, their psychic significance is displaced onto closely associated but less important details. So displacement is indeed the main mechanism here, as it is in the case like in mnemic symbols or in the forgetting of a proper name. So to go back, that's the pretty much the definition of a screen memory. So they say screen memories are created by the aliens as they seek to obscure and obfuscate what really happened to the abductee. So a screen memory is one of a non-threatening nature that the mind and subconscious creates to mask and bury a frightening, stressful event. So extraterrestrial species might possess the ability to create extremely visual hallucinations in the mind of the targeted abductee as part of a concentrated effort to ensure that the truth of the matter never surfaced. The image of the eerie owl would overwhelm the reality of the situation, thus ensuring that the aliens' desire to stay in the shadows remained intact. Make no mistake, such cases are everywhere. So just to give you guys a little bit of history going further back, they link the Mothman to owl sightings. And if you guys listeners that don't know about the Mothman, that's I'm not sure when that story came about. Do you guys already look it up or what? Anybody?
No, I haven't looked it up.
Yeah, I'll look it up right now. But the Mothman or Owlman there was even sightings of going far back as the 70s. Let's see. I'm gonna see if they have the actual.
I'm
That's
still
date on
gonna
here.
find those. I have the
Yeah.
pictures of those 3 moths I was talking about that I still want to show y'all because the way they were all
Lined up.
Yeah, and I think they were called an atlas moth, or at least that's the biggest picture of a moth I've found. It's like, as big or bigger than your
Yeah.
hand.
That's dope.
My dad said he saw a big ass owl where he used to go jogging in this empty field. Now there's like buildings and shit there. Actually, a freeway's going there through there.
They saw him in a field.
But he saw this big ass owl dude, and he said it looked like a dude crossing his arms, bro, at first. And he tripped out, so he got closer to it. He's like, "It was a big ass fucking owl, bro."
That's dope.
That's crazy.
That's funny. Looked like someone sitting there.
Yeah.
Maybe it was, and then when you got closer, it
Mothman.
transformed.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
crazy.
I like that,
Mothman.
Shamal.
Uh-huh.
See, I never thought of that till
Yeah,
you
dude.
guys started talking about Mothman and shit.
Well, it's right here. It just popped right up, but it says in West Virginia folklore, the Mothman is a creature reportedly seen in Point Pleasant area in 1966. So it was really close to the 70s. The first newspaper report was published in the Point Pleasant Register, dated November 16th, 1966, titled "Couples See Man-Sized Bird Creature Something." And that's what it says, creature something. The Mothman was introduced to a wider audience by Gray Barker in 1970 and then popularized in the 75 book, The Mothman Prophecies. So it kind of goes into the folklore about it, but in some of the things we were reading about the shapeshifters, one of them was that there was like the Mothman, and it was like the Birdman, and it could change. It had human attributes and wings, and so they say that when you see it, this is weird. I just seen a documentary on it. This was after the podcast, but sometimes its body will tear itself in half, and you have to separate the body from the upper half so that it can never reconnect to its legs again, and it flies off and it dies somewhere.
Oh, what? That's
It's
how you kill
trippy.
it, pretty much?
Yeah, I just seen this on the
supernatural
documentary.
shit.
Yeah, like 2 nights ago, I think. So that's really
That's how
weird,
you kill
yeah.
it, boy. That's how we kill it, boys.
You
We
gotta
gotta
pull it in half,
You
dude.
gotta pull it in half.
That's
Separate the
crazy.
man from the moth.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You gotta split it like a blunt.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I watched the interview on YouTube. I forgot who it was though. It was this African American guy. But he was talking about how there is life. He said there's people like that look just like us. He's all, but these guys came and were
You
living
just said
here.
this African American guy.
You
Yeah.
can say black, dude. It's okay.
No, but yeah, that fool was just talking about all that. He said they're probably living in the Orion, and I forgot what other one he mentioned. Starts with the N.
Neptune.
No, like nebulae or
Nebulae?
something. Yeah,
Nebulae or
nebulae. Yeah, that one. He's all, they're probably living in there. He's all, these people look just like us. He's all, but they just got that extra superpower. He's all, these guys send stuff down here. He's on, they send humans to do the work that they didn't want to do. He's all, because they don't like using their hands or none of that. He's also, they pretty much program people to work for us. He's all, like gold. He's all, where does it keep coming from, dude? The gold. He's all, so much keeps getting extracted, and it just keeps coming up and coming up. He's all like,
Do you guys know where gold comes from?
Nebula.
Gold,
Gold.
the Earth,
The Earth, yeah.
California?
Asteroids?
It's a mixture of metals that comes from outer space. And
And then it just hardens up and then
Because
just
it's
changes
been
its form.
exposed to such
Yeah.
that reaction of the universe, basically.
yeah,
like
it's
expanding
space.
and being
It's space
born.
metal.
Yeah.
So
see?
yeah, Broly,
There it
you know,
is.
talking about space metal.
There
and
it is,
You
the
think
space
about
metal.
it, it's the highest conducting. Like you can take gold, and there's properties to it, so you can run anything through it, and it's like a full current.
We use it in a lot of technology. I think silver too. A lot of those metals have big applications on our smartphones and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But gold is crazy to me that it's so soft. People can wear like a pendant their whole life, and half of it'll be gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the time they.
Yeah, because they were talking about
crazy.
like artificial intelligence too. How they're all like, they don't want to bring it up here. He's all, because they're going to get too smart one day that they can now power us. He's all, that's how the higher power is.
How does that guy know all of this?
Huh? just off research, man, that he did. I'll try to find them on YouTube, dude. That
Oh,
interview.
but he wasn't like an ex-government worker or ex-government
no,
worker or something like
but
that.
he's a very well-respected guy. Like even the guy was giving him props because he knows about all the like the book writers that wrote about like the 7 symbols.
Mhm.
He said that pretty much everyone uses those 7 symbols that
These different scenes. I just looked up this cool guide to show Psych and see what he thinks, because you know more probably seeing this in comics and movies and stuff. But like through the different eras, how we like research that stuff.
Yeah.
And then I love the cool over the top representations of like steampunk. Is the one that I've heard of, and then it gives them years. So steampunk would be like 1860 to 1910.
Yeah.
Steam power, gear tech, gas lamp fantasy, Victorian futurism, and then there's ray punk, which kind of reminds me of Dune for some reason, but I
Yeah.
don't know. And it says 1910 to 1930, ray gun, gothic, streamlined, strange forces, unknown tech, aliens. That's when that we started to kind of fantasize that kind of stuff. And then diesel punk, never heard of that.
Never heard of that either.
1930 to 1950, World War II, pulp fiction, film noir, occult, diesel power. And then there's atom punk and cassette futurism, and now cyberpunk is the era that we're in.
Yeah, cyber.
I'll show you this guide.
What is this? What's cyberpunk? What are these things you're talking about?
Yeah, you can read the cyberpunk. It kind of categorizes the fantasy of these periods, I guess.
every
kinda,
period
like
of time is coming
Right.
from dating back
molding
to time.
human with
Yeah.
metals, molding human with animals, molding human with
Yeah, they say
aliens,
that all
kinda.
comes from that higher power, and they're like, there's like artificial, like the AIs, dude. They're like, if we fucking
Right, and
start
then this
building
is-
all kinds of people to do the work for us,
Mhm.
they're gonna get to a point where like these motherfuckers will be advancing like us, like humans, you know. So it's all just
But I've just never
Crazy.
seen these references in pop culture, but I think it's pretty cool to think about how, like, back in the day, there probably was people trying to research how to,
mhm.
so we could have vision like a moth or vision like a fly, and all these thoughts they must have
Yeah.
had. Crazy scientists, you know, science is wild throughout the last few centuries.
Oh, yeah.
Have you guys ever researched the like that World Science like fair? I was looking that
Oh,
up.
Like,
Because it's like if you look up the movie Iron Man, and his dad is pretty much he's like the modern, you know, man. He's the one that's creating all like in the 60s. So I'm looking at
World's
this.
Fair.
Yeah, the World's Fair. There you go. Okay, so they call it the World's Fair, but it's not. It's not governed by any like United Nation anything.
Right.
And so what it is it's pretty much run by America, and they host it every year against all these united people that actually did it right. We just kind of made this our own thing, but that World's Fair, I'm gonna have to look it up now, but there's a lot of controversy about the World's Fair, and
These sites are all abandoned now, but you've probably seen one or been in the city. I can't remember, but like the sites of the World's Fair, they would build these crazy things like you see in the Men in Black, those two little things that look like spaceships. That's from the World's Fair back in the day.
yeah.
That was either in Chicago or wherever.
What's the World's Fair?
And so it's where you would hear about all the latest technology, all the science breakthroughs, anything General Electric just built and came up with, like that's where they would unveil the dishwasher.
Yeah,
or
like
the
a
laundry.
calculator was there.
Yeah, stuff like that, where you would go be amazed at mankind's achievements.
Like a convention?
But a show, but in show form, like when Apple releases something,
Oh, so they hit the stage and like,
yeah, and
look
go
at our
big
new.
time. Yeah,
Like you
We-
see the dishwasher.
look up to us,
Yeah.
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 Crazy.
It's crazy. It's like
What kind of punks were those?
Draft punks.
this was back in like
Daft Punk.
Oh,
Diesel Punk, I think.
diesel.
But they would build crazy
Yeah.
sites. So they would like build, whatever, some fantasy looking thing or
Fantasy Island.
So kind of like the Renaissance Fair.
The first one.
They bring a whole village to the desert.
The first one was held in 1893.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the World's Columbian Exposition of 1893 was the first World's Fair held in Chicago.
What?
Yeah.
1893.
You been there?
What, Chicago?
That's over 100 years old, fellas.
Yeah.
World's Fair, yeah.
Yeah, I was reading this fool that got abducted in 2001 in Ireland. He said they told him when the end of the world was coming, dog.
Oh,
Yeah.
for real?
Yeah.
What?
Did he say when?
This was I got the date somewhere right here. So his name's Gerry Battles.
Nice.
So the incident occurred December 26, 2001. So that's the day after Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, he didn't even get to enjoy his toys.
Right.
Wait, what year?
2001.
2001. So right after 9/11 and all that shit. A few months after. As he was admiring the stars, he noticed a particular odd light emerge in the sky, and then suddenly found himself aboard an alien spacecraft. Paralyzed but able to observe other humans in similar state aboard the ship. Then so when he got up there was other dudes fucking in similar state as that vato in the spacecraft. All I remember is his big cone head and his beautiful ginormous eyes. They were jet black, almost like mirrors. During their telepathic conversation, the alien revealed to Battles that Earth was due to be destroyed by an asteroid in 850 years. Alien told him not to trust politicians or banks. And I got that from coasttocoastam.com. And you guys wanna know?
850 years? Damn.
Damn. So maybe we are their experiment, and that's when they're going to end. That's like the retirement date, you know? Every experiment comes
has
to an end.
has a day where
deadline.
it's done with that experiment.
No, they were saying too on that interview that they're like, these guys are gonna get fed up with everyone, you know, doing their research and actually wanting to find out what's really going on with these guys. And he's all, that's when these guys are gonna panic out and really do some damage.
These aliens?
Yeah, or the other creatures. He's all, they call them, what do they call them?
Reptilians?
Onanokus or something like that.
Anunnaki.
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 There you go.
Anunnaki.
He's all, they're Anunnaki. He's all, they look just like humans. He's all, they're just like us. He's all, but they just think they got that extra higher power that.
So
that's crazy.
they
He's
created
all,
us, and now
yeah, they created us, and he's all
So it is like Men in Black.
that experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go. It was interesting to watch it. I'll try to find that interview.
I wanted to. I saw something about the Cambrian explosion, and I don't remember how I got to it, but it was about the explosion of like organisms with cells and vertebrates and all these little tiny creatures at that point in whatever, you know.
Yep.
And the argument was whether or not that came from evolution or a big event. You know what I mean?
That was a big event.
I think the documentary, this was on PBS or something, and one of the scientists' name was Strobel, and a whole community of scientists who like signed this document against Charles Darwin, saying that evolution was like the origin of all our species or something. Like whatever that singularity was or the Big Bang that happened was like a result of something. You know what I mean? Something conscious or something like that.
Evolution of elevation.
I don't have any conclusions on it. I just thought it was interesting. But the guy's name was Strobel, and they were dating back to this like explosion of life from cells, and when all these changes happened, I guess really fast. Like,
is that the Big Bang Theory, or is that something
No,
different?
I guess it would have happened after that. You know how we have each period? We've categorized the periods. Like,
Yep. Like Victorian, Renaissance.
Yeah, and then back into dinosaur times,
Yeah,
like the
prehistoric,
paleo,
yeah,
this and that.
Paleolithic.
I don't know
Mezio.
enough, yeah, but
there's, like,
this Cambrian explosion was apparently like the result of so many different types of organisms and cells at that level. You know?
A Cambrian explosion?
Yeah, so it's something to look into.
I'm going to write that down.
Nice.
I'm going to look into it like Eddie Bravo. Hey,
Yeah.
so we were listening to Joey Diaz and Eddie Bravo, and he was saying some wild shit about the mass shootings. Remember that?
Yeah, they were talking some
Some
crazy
wild-
planned stuff. Like they were all expecting this to happen. You know what I mean?
and
Yeah.
He's like, and he mentioned Epstein on the fucking.
As a distraction from all the
distraction.
things that should be in the news or would be coming
That's
out.
how it is, yeah.
Calls them
they-
news blockers or something, right?
Yeah, and he was taking it to the level of basically they can target people that have a medical history. You know, they've been deemed either crazy or they're treating medical disorders. They contact that person and basically like put the instructions in their head, whether it's through an idea or through their computer or whatever, for this person to go carry out this act that will just serve as a distraction.
Like Manchurian Candidate style.
Yeah, exactly. Is that the one with the fake war where they create a war?
That's
no,
Ride
that's-
the Dog.
President? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, what Manchurian Candidate is they pretty much MK Ultra some of these people, or they already take broken people and they
That's what he was saying, broken people.
yeah, and they give them pretty much like they give them like like a list to do, and they only turn on this list when they give them the right command.
Right.
And then they go Manchurian, and it's like they turn into this other person,
Wow, that's
robotic,
crazy.
and they go. And you know, that's a lot of movies twice have came out about that. There's an old one, a black and white version of it, and then Denzel Washington played the like 90s version of that. But he was in the government, and then his I think his duty at the end was to like assassinate the president.
So you could have operatives everywhere, and they could be subconscious.
Right, and they're
operatives. They
sleepers.
don't know
They're
exactly,
sleepers. Yeah, and then you activate them just like on Marvel.
Wild.
Just like on Marvel with the Winter Soldier. So he's the
right.
perfect example of exactly what we're talking about. So
That's crazy.
yeah,
Yeah, and they were talking about the shootings, and I can't remember what else they were linking it to. Other just big decisions, things you're not supposed to hear about that would come out in the news. But I feel like the news is already so much controlled that would that stuff come out anyway? You know what I mean? It's already all set up for that. But maybe that is part of it.
Have you
Having
seen that montage? It's literally like nationwide. It's a bunch of news anchors literally saying the same thing.
I was about to mention that.
Yeah, about
Yeah.
trusting the news.
Mhm.
They're like, be careful where your media source is from.
When
or-
they make those crazy
Yeah.
montages where they all use the same keywords,
I'm gonna try
those
to find
phrases
it.
and stuff.
No, they use there's some that they use every news station in the country uses the same exact lines.
Yep.
And
For
what-
that's for your nightly local news. By
Oh,
the
yeah.
way. That's for your like, hey, this is what happened in Phoenix, Las Vegas, Dallas,
think about
Whatever.
this too. The way that the
So they write one script, dude, for everybody.
and that gets passed down. And then they add in this kid played baseball today, and
Yeah.
this person thing happened. But they got to say their other stuff, you know.
and their talk track though. If you listen to the way they talk, it's all the same. Like they don't.
Keywords.
Yeah,
And
they
always
don't-
some phrases, you
Yeah,
know.
catchphrases and
Yeah.
Stuff like that. So
Yeah, that creeps me out big time because that's why I would think, wait, does it take a mass shooting to just cover something up? I don't know if that's even necessary. You know
yeah,
what
I think
mean?
that's like too next level, you know,
like they already
when you-
got it on lock, right? Like the way
Yeah.
we get information, and,
Yeah.
you know.
I really don't think they would actually kill innocent people like that, bro.
I would have a tough
As a
time.
setup, I have a tough time believing that,
Mhm.
but some people do believe that.
It's crazy to me how many people have died in singular events
Lit-
because to us 9/11 was so huge, and then the other day I just read about the first bomb that we dropped was like 70,000 people
Hiroshima?
instantly. Yeah,
let's touch on
vaporized.
These, let's
I'm like,
touch
wow,
on this.
that number blows my
That's a
mind.
lot, and that was real, and they're still feeling the effects of that today.
And that's
so
just
Yeah.
totally real, you know. But to us, when 2,000 people died that day, that was absolutely like, to us, was mind blowing.
Not just that, dude. The soldiers testing the bombs died early, way early, bro.
oh yeah,
They're growing big ass legs, fucking.
But our generation has already forgotten how real that was. We grew up learning about the Holocaust, and maybe a survivor came to your school and showed you their arm with the tattoo, and it was
Right.
real. But I just didn't understand. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's in your face. If you
And now
were,
I'm in my 30s, just starting to think of
yeah.
these things that happened.
Oh,
were
think about
real.
in our times though. There's more than that. There was Timothy McVeigh with the bombing.
That's right. I
Oklahoma
remember
City?
coming home from school.
Yeah,
and seeing That was
Oklahoma.
160 something people, I think.
Hey, to touch on that real quick. So the guys that I was telling you that I was listening to that was way deep into this, William Cooper, rest in peace. He came out with the book "Behold the Pale White Horse." Timothy McVeigh actually had contacted him and was talking to him and stuff, and he was saying that guy wasn't like in a mercenary group, and he wasn't like anti-American. He was actually in the like the army or military, some branch of the military, and they gave him those that van full of that stuff, and that was like an order that he was like,
Wow,
like
that's
doing.
Well,
That's wild.
that was one of Eddie Bravo's theory that they take this kid, like they find a kid that's already on the list of,
Yeah.
and they like manipulate him more, throw ideas in his head, like for him to actually act out.
Right. To
Yeah.
fulfill like that,
But that's that's crazy, bro. If that really does go on, that's evil beyond.
yeah, there was
Yeah,
real
and
people.
it makes me think, are there people that go down this path and this was already in his life for years, these crazy thoughts, this crazy whatever, or is it orchestrated like that,
It's hard to say,
It
man.
really is, yeah.
Think about going back a couple years to the Dark Knight shooting when that kid shot up the first movie theater.
Right. That's one they mentioned as well. They
And
were talking about those
all these-
cases.
all these
Most
things.
of the ones you've mentioned so far, they brought up specifically like,
Well, think about that kid. That kid, middle America,
Medicated.
medicated. He shoots up in a late night movie theater, and then when you find him in court,
They said he couldn't speak. He couldn't
No.
even explain it.
And who dyed his hair? So he had brown hair, and when he went to court,
Red,
he had
orange?
red, like almost
Like
pink hair. Like
yeah.
it was like
Orange,
it was like orange, red,
Yeah.
pinkish, like just a really bright hue.
Yeah, I remember the Cherry.
Wasn't he
saying-
dressed like the Joker though when he was shooting everybody up?
Basically, for
But
the
he-
mo-
but
no,
he-
no, no, no,
That's
not
what
he
they're
wasn't
saying.
dressed
That's
like
the
it.
narrative.
I thought he had like the makeup. or
No,
something.
that wasn't the narrative. That
At
happened
first,
after.
the narrative was that he was glorifying movies and comics and that kind of stuff.
But that
or
wasn't
something,
true.
but- right.
His hair, if you see when they arrested him, he was normal. Like nobody has brown. Maybe as close to you.
Like dirty blonde or
Dirty
just
blonde.
regular hair?
Yeah, like a amber. You know, when he was in court, somebody dyed his hair and it was like bright red.
I remember
see
that.
what
It
you're
was
saying,
orange.
like that was
Who-
part of the narrative or
who,
part of the
who
image.
did that? Yeah,
That's crazy.
so in jail, who's gonna say that Jay can go dye his hair, and that's part of the deal? Especially he just shot up a movie theater,
Right.
and he's like national news.
I always feel weird too because, on one side, Eddie Bravo, like, I say, hey, good for you for just always questioning things and taking it down that street.
Yeah.
But then also a lot of the times we're like, wait, what court case or what is he talking? Because he's like, oh, they didn't want you to hear about some big ruling, but no one knows what ruling or why or what. It's so much,
There's so much more information. If
Yeah,
you have to always.
and we can't we're not scholars like we can spend all day researching
Right.
it,
Well, you know what? I think that's why they gave us jobs, and that's why they take so if you think about, they take your kids for see, look at
That's his mugshot,
that's his mugshot,
see
but
that?
it's red.
and
mean,
so
Scott-
if you see when they arrest him, like
Yeah,
try to
that's what
find
I'm gonna pull
yeah,
up
try to
'cause
find when they arrested him. It's
The reason why I'm
red
saying
like that,
the
yeah.
reason why I'm bringing this up is because if on the arrest video
Mhm.
he has brown hair, from arresting to a mugshot they did this shit.
Yeah.
So I'm
They
I'm
propped
gonna
him
look
up.
for
Yeah,
it now,
it was doctored.
Yeah,
'cause-
so there's a
as
video.
that quick.
So there's a video that you could throw on the projector.
While he's doing that, when we looked up the World's Fair, the title of this book freaked me out. So this will just be something a note for us. But The Devil in the White City: Murder, Magic, and Madness at the Fair That Changed America is a 2003 historical nonfiction book by Eric Larson, presented in a novelistic style. The book is based on real characters and events. But that sounds like it might be interesting.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Yep. Man,
But yeah, I've never dug into the World's Fair. You just think it was a big fun time, party time. But no, this was corporations putting on their show,
Uh-huh.
You know what? I wish I would have. I wish I would have notated, because I just watched three. One was like a TED talk about the whole the history of the World Fair and how corrupt it is, and it was corporations going to sell their
new way of life.
boot. Yeah, exactly. Like that, like what they wanted to project to the future. So the theory is, and this is just the theory, but they hire so big tech corporations, people with money, they pretty much are trying to format a new plan for our future. And what they do is they hire illustrators to produce it through books and TV and music and all this stuff, and then it gives people the idea of seeing what the future is going to be, and then they buy into that.
That's where our sitcoms are. So if you notice, a lot of what's left on TV now, like we used to all watch Urkel or whatever Friday night shows would come on, but mixed into that is always your shows supporting. So you're going to have your police show, you're going to have your fire show. So now they just straight up have like Chicago PD, Chicago Fire, this and that, Grey's Anatomy, whatever it might be, these hospital shows. That's to keep your faith alive in these things. Medicine, public civil servants, what it's supposed to look like to us, how we're supposed to act.
What is this?
Is this going to be him coming into intake?
This is the video of
of the shooter. Okay.
Aurora.
So what we're watching for the viewers, we are watching the video of the shooting that took place years ago
in Aurora,
Colorado. That was the
Dark
it
Knight.
was the Dark Knight shooting when
Shooter
that movie was
McGavin.
released. Released. He said Shooter McGavin. He threw me out.
Right now, just showing people running out from the view of the
I'm trying
concession
to
stand.
see. You rewind it back to where you first.
Hey, you see
entered.
that chick put her hand in the
honestly-
register before she dipped out?
I want to see if you can see the color of his hair.
That was funny.
I want to see the color of his hair. And then.
So he ran out in that crowd,
I don't know.
or
I don't-
was
I
he
think
walking in? I didn't see the guy.
I think that was just people evacuating.
Yeah, I don't think that.
It was probably over at that time.
Yeah. Oh, is that an owl?
Yeah. Because you guys are
Dude,
talking about
that was a scary video. You see that shit, bro?
It's crazy. Another thing Eddie Bravo brought up was the Vegas shooting too, and one thing that got me about that was being in Vegas that night, not being at that show, but just being a part of all the
You were
madness.
there?
Yeah. So I lived in Vegas at the time. A girl was visiting me from Wyoming, and I remember telling her it wasn't safe to leave at 10 o'clock just anyway, being careful driving. And within minutes, that all started happening. There's a shooter. And we didn't know if it was on the highway, if it was a hotel, where, because you start getting crazy reports. But that just, like, I really felt that, just knowing that a mile down the road, or I can't remember if I was 2-3 miles, whatever, away from the Mandalay Bay, thinking that was happening. And then how quick that went out of the news nationally, but we heard about it a lot in Vegas. They would just talk about remembering it, Vegas strong, the hashtags with that and stuff to remember that. But dude, that stuff falls out of the news so fast. To me, that blew my mind that happened.
So, how, like, you were there, right? And
I was just sitting in my apartment.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. I thought this was the false flag, that shooting. Who was it? Kenny Chesney? Who was that?
It was
a
Jason Aldean and a bunch of others. It was
a country
fest. Yeah.
Okay. This is I'm gonna go out there, guys. I'm gonna kind of lay something out that this is just these are just words, but to me, like I watched a lot of research on the 9/11 thing, and there's a lot of questionable things that say like maybe a plane didn't crash into it, that it was like bombs that were actually exploded, but then that we know that there was a plane, and we know that there was people on this flight that were calling from it and stuff.
Right, that's true.
So this is the part where I get confused, because if you were watching it, and I didn't have a job back then. I was straight smoking weed and doing graffiti at my crib, dude, living with my mom at the time. So I was watching all these different stories come out, and they were saying that they caught these guys on the Brooklyn Bridge, and it was 5 terrorists, and they got them, and then all these different conflicting stories come out. So long story short, I didn't believe what happened in 9/11. I just don't know what happened. So I know people died, and I know that people were affected, and that yes, a large populace are still affected by it. But then going into these mass shootings, so I was like, maybe they were like, okay, we went pretty hardcore and we blew up this building and people got paid. Obviously, like all those insurance claims that got cashed in on the 5th building going down, not even being close to it. Oh, and then talking about the Pentagon, they said a plane crashed into that, but there's no wreckage. There's no anything that shows that a plane even melted into the wall of it. Oh, and by coincidence, that wing is being fixed and there's nobody in it, and so nobody's home. They just blew something up in it. So then you go into the mass shootings. Then you start going into, like, meaning Las Vegas. You go into there was another one where they were saying that they were shooting from a helicopter. I think that was Vegas, actually. There was a conspiracy theory that nobody was in the hotel, and that it was like them shooting from a helicopter. Now, I don't believe that at all. But I'm saying so many conflicting stories comes out.
Well, the first few days, it was crazy to see those windows blown out.
Yeah.
So you're driving by, and I mean, for at least the first thing I saw was the drapes flying out of those windows, and that's when it got real to me. And I'm like feeling chills just talking about it, because it's just on TV. Never gonna have that impact, bro. We think we understand what we see on TV, and real life is so different. It just doesn't have that weight. But seeing those drapes flapping out of that window is when I felt it. And then they boarded it up to plywood.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, the distance across the street, everything just blows your mind about that.
Oh, it's crazy.
You know what I mean?
I did a little research on the guy that was shooting. So his brother came out and talked about this. But did you guys ever look into the guy?
I remember his brother did an interview.
So his brother wanted to go
Honestly,
and say,
to answer that question, I feel like I gotta say, I make a conscious effort not to, because I don't like to
click it, give them the clicks, give the news people
even
the
though
clicks.
that they're dead, but just all that sort of stuff, like with this shooter, I know his name, but I'm not saying it.
Yeah, fuck that.
But also, I feel like it's respect to them.
Right.
But that's why, at least I feel. But thank you for, because I know you researched this and you try and find the reason behind it. As for, you're not doing it for the gore or anything like that. So I appreciate that as someone who's inquisitive.
So this is interesting, and that's where my theory stopped about just like the 10% or 3% doing this and trying to make it a spectacle so they can institute martial law or take away our guns. This guy was spending millions of dollars in that hotel, and he was top tier, so he made it a living to go into these hotels. And he was on a card. So, when you go and they say, hey, come to our hotel and use our rewards
system.
Yeah,
Because, he would gamble,
$500,000.
Yeah, I
on
heard
purpose.
A couple $100,000, had money from real estate. So, probably
Yeah.
had a couple million, was
Yep.
bored, nothing to do.
So this is what happened. They basically took a good customer and they outs them. They were like, your points, he used to get triple points. He wasn't even getting like singular points anymore. He was like getting like half points. So they just screwed this dude over. And
Which that was his joy, probably. in
it
life.
was.
Yeah.
So they talked to the owner of the Wynn Hotel, Wynn, whatever his name is, and then
Steve Wynn.
Yeah, Steve Wynn. There you go. And 2 other hotels that he would frequent, and they all were like, yeah, he just spent money here. We would give him the best rooms, like the whale rooms or whatever, the people spending the most money in. And they said that he just he was living at such a high priority in life that he didn't want to go down to that level.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah, and a lot of that makes sense too, because as much as you can look into it as a conspiracy,
Yeah.
imagine how real all those feelings are, man.
Yeah.
People that get their homes taken away, their spouse,
that's
their
real.
kids, their job,
Mhm.
their points at the casino.
Yep.
That's just as big to a lot of people,
Yeah, and that's why it's a fine line. You're walking a razor's edge. Doing all the research and going into all this stuff, and that's
Agreed. That's well said too, so people don't think that we're just diving in. You know what I mean? It's about
Right.
going down that road and saying you're going to question things, but it doesn't
Yeah.
mean we believe everything we read.
Not at all.
Whether we're saying any of this is true or not true. you know?
Yeah, we're just here. In my opinion, this is the best platform to speak on things that are not being spoken about at all anywhere. And this is the best way to talk about current news, because I do want to hear. I know it's on the list too, talking about more about the mass shootings and the racism, current racism, because all of those things could be distractions again to take away from the real information that's going on. Like the stem cell research and
Or just to take away from our productivity. you know what I
Productivity
mean?
as well,
Just being
yeah.
happy, healthy people.
Yep. Hey, speaking of, did any of you guys see the rocket launch that just happened again at night?
No, I didn't get to watch that.
So yeah, again, it's so weird that they launch these things at night, and that even in the day, I would assume you would see these illuminated things, and why wouldn't they do it in the day? So it's really interesting. I'm still trying to find out more.
That's
about
something
that.
you can go watch, right?
Oh, yeah.
Something we could plan to go watch a Falcon, whatever.
We could drive to Cali and
SpaceX.
they launch them out of Cali and Florida.
I've
So
seen people posting their things on,
That's dope.
whatever, their videos across the water or whatever. and
Uh-huh.
That must be crazy to see in person.
No.
That's all I
Oh,
can
wow.
say.
You know what's crazy is because we were just talking about atomic killing people with these atomic bombs, but how Americans would sit back and watch these as entertainment, and later on they found out they got really sick from watching these test sites.
yeah,
And you got to think if we're
Nuclear.
watching these rocket launches, you got to wonder if are we
affected by
yeah,
that.
are we affected by something we don't know yet?
There's some kind of
That's-
radiation, right, that they're
Well,
emitting or not?
the guy that used to
when
write for us,
when a
your
rocket
phones
ship goes
and
in,
everything.
yeah, dude. That's why when people watch it, they have to stand way far. That in the flames.
They
dude.
have
Mhm.
they have shields that protect them from radiation as well too, almost like when you wear that vest.
And that's
Yeah.
byproducts of the fuel they're burning. I
Right.
don't know anything about 5G or whatever. This tower out
Yep.
back of our office that these
Let's
guys
knock
keep
it down.
climbing up and doing whatever they're doing. Apparently, that's got some pretty powerful stuff coming out of it. And
That has a T-Mobile sign on it, property of T-Mobile on the
does not-
fence.
so it's been upgraded to 5G. And one of the guys that worked with us originally
Oh.
did not want to work here anymore unless we were going to paint the entire workshop with a coated paint that would reflect the 5G
Wow.
radiation.
Yeah, they're saying
He
that
didn't
that
feel
sh-
safe
that
coming
that
here.
shit is gonna be terrible.
Yeah,
They
And I
got
kind of
where
thought he was crazy, and now that's coming out in the news. Whoa, 5G is not good for
Yeah.
oh
you.
yeah,
dude.
there's people quitting all the time because they're just the installment guys because they're getting sick.
they gotta wear hazmat suits and shit. To
Yeah,
climb
they're
up
getting
there.
sick. You could.
That's
There's
crazy.
somebody with testers
Yeah.
that can. They got those. I'm gonna kill the name, but it's something Bolic, and it tells you how much radiation.
Oh
is
yeah, it's like a
emitting.
little thing you hold in it.
Is it
Yeah,
a
I know.
Geiger counter?
A
or is
Geiger
that
counter.
something-
Yeah,
there you go.
go.
I was gonna call it something Bolic counter.
So that
but-
would be interesting. We should look up what a little cheap version of that is.
And
Let's
see
get one.
outside or whatever.
Yeah, not
Yeah,
an
let's get
ultra crazy one, but just a
Guy get up on
Decent
Amazon.
one.
yeah.
Here's a quick little side note for anybody looking. This is like our little ad within the show. There's a Sedona UFO and Vortex tour that takes place.
Yeah.
We were just in Sedona.
So check it out. It had 145 reviews, and it's all like 5 stars. So
I bet the people are knowledgeable. So the first person to seriously ask me, I thought it was a joke, and I felt
Yeah.
so bad for thinking, okay, what's this guy into? Until I realized Sedona is world famous
For
this.
that
Yeah.
stuff.
But basically, someone came into town
sightings
to
and
stay the night, and
Mhm.
he's like, "No," he just so casually said, "Know where any good vortexes are at?" And I was
you're like, yeah.
what? and well, this is before I knew Sedona was famous for it. After he left, I Googled it, and it came up like it's a big deal.
But now you know 2 of them. You know Mount Graham. You
Mhm.
know Sedona. And then I'm going to bring up what happened to the 4 nuclear test sites in America. And then also I'll give you guys the info for this too. We should check this out. It says tours start at $100.
Hey, real quick,
yeah.
you could get a Geiger counter for as little as like $20.
Woo! Let's get one.
No, but they're just stupid handheld ones. But looks like a pretty legit one for less than 200. I've seen them for about $100.
Hey,
so,
let's get him as sponsors, dude, for the KDIF radio show. When we air it, was
Yeah,
We'll do a
Give you
little-
count.
yeah,
where you're
a
like,
commercial.
Today in South Phoenix, you're reading 5.2.
yeah. They got one that's for
Microwave,
17
whatever.
bucks and looks like
you
it'll.
like mention Roach Clip at checkout. Oh no, mention From the Great Beyond at checkout. And get your first tour for $80 or some shit, dude. We'll have
That's
people
sick.
driving out there, dog.
Yeah,
Hell
we'll
yeah.
take them in buses.
Caravanning,
Caravan.
the Phoenix Caravan.
I'm gonna put my hat on like a lesbiana.
No, but they used to talk about just the fact that radio waves, and those are super long
Yeah.
waves that are all around us. There's all these waves in the air that we're submitted to, but now this is to another level. For
I don't.
sure.
I don't have a microwave. Just to let you guys know, I don't. I don't have one in my house. One, I think when you nuke food, like it can't be good. You know what kind of substance is going to be in that food after you nuke it? And then 2, I also heard that if they ever wanted to like release like a EMP or something, that your microwave would blow up.
Mm.
So it's like a little mini bomb in your house. You know, I'm
That's
like,
wild.
I don't want that. So check this out: nuclear test sites.
How do you warm up your food?
Oven?
Oven.
Yeah,
So I
or
thought-
a toaster oven.
It takes longer, but it always stays hot longer too.
Yeah,
you
and
notice
it's-
like
Oh.
microwave food is like scorching, freezing,
Yeah.
freezing, because all it's
'Cause
doing
it's
is making the
waves.
water
Yeah.
spin really
Oh yeah,
fast.
that's right.
Toaster
It,
oven.
it
That's
actually
a good
heat.
investment.
Yeah, it heats up the molecules is what
It
it
just
does.
makes them
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, toaster oven though. So
Yeah.
and you could still put metal in there and everything like you can an oven. So I mean, sorry, a microwave. Check it out, guys. Nuclear test sites from 1945 until 1998. There have been over 2,000 nuclear test sites conducted worldwide. In America, the island in Alaska, Amchitka, site of 3 underground nuclear tests in the 60s and early 70s. And then Pacific Ocean, they dropped
Right,
one
we're
in there.
doing them in the water, bro, like torpedoes.
That's weird.
That is weird. So there's
Yeah.
a few that have not detonated. There's a famous one that like they've got pictures of, but they don't know how to move it, whatever. and
Nobody
it's
wants
just
to touch
sitting
it.
down there,
Oh
In
man,
the water?
yeah.
yeah,
Jesus Christ.
that's crazy.
That's how they're gonna bring back
Yeah,
a megalodon.
just a quick fact on Nevada too is 90% federal, over 90% federal land. The state of Nevada.
Here you go.
Federally
Nevada.
funded.
It's federal Nevada test site, Nevada, USA, established by President Truman in 1950, now operated by the Department of Energy. The NTS has been the site of over 900 atmospheric and underground nuclear tests in
Dang.
just Nevada. It's called NTS, which I'm guaranteeing it's a big old like land, mass that they do. Phelan, Nevada, site of an American test. Trinity Site, New Mexico, site of the first nuclear weapon test on July 16, 1945. Carlsbad, New Mexico, site of an American test. Green Valley, Colorado, Rifle, Colorado, Mississippi, Algeria. Oh man, this list goes on forever. Man, Pacific Ocean galore. So what does that say, man? Think about all that. Think about all that nuclear wind, and every time it rains, that rain just brings that nuclear fallout like back down. Just talking about Japan. We dropped a hydrogen bomb back then. The first hydrogen bomb, and when that exploded,
Hiroshima.
yeah, it literally changed the face of those people. So like a lot of masculine people are gone. They're just like kind of like barely building up like another like range of.
It changed their DNA.
Basically, like that's the best definition
That
of
thing
it.
evaporated people instantly, dude.
That's crazy,
instantly.
man. And then the ones that did survive, they have some sort of radiation that's
Yeah.
gonna go through to your kids. And so
I've
forth
watched
and so
tons
on.
of documentaries of like survivors and
Think about eating that food. Hey, have you guys touched on Chernobyl yet?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
HBO.
Well, now we
Yeah,
have
that's the
it.
show.
Mhm.
Hey, that's a pretty good. I mean, that's not even a conspiracy. Like they tried to cover it up for a while, but it just got out. And
That's a good that's a good show.
we should-
Chernobyl?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that show's sick with it, man.
Yeah.
It's a tripped out show. The other tripped out thing about that is so all that nuclear waste, it's seeping into the earth, and what kind of effect is that going to have on the planet? Like same thing with there's another so it was Chernobyl, then it was there was another.
there's something just happened in
recently, yeah, in
Japan?
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. Okay,
Where it's like when- it's like
Fukushima.
We're like reached Hawaii, like the
Yeah.
nuclear, or even the US.
through the water.
Like,
No, this one went to the water.
no, yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. The water, they're finding.
The tsunami caused that one, huh?
Yeah. What were they saying? Was it to mainland or just Hawaii?
I don't
Parts
know,
of
but
Hawaii.
yeah,
Parts.
that thing's still seeping
Oh yeah.
radiation out nonstop.
So we're kind of in a like the atom. We're like the children of the atom now, and we're
Mhm.
living in like the time where nuclear. It's gonna be like a nuclear fallout.
Mhm.
Yeah, well, remember that in Hawaii too? That volcano that was just
That just
leaking
exploded?
forever. Is it still leaking out?
Right now it's currently subsidized. Like it's not leaking as much, but man, I just saw
Oh, that was
another
like last year, right?
Yeah, but remember that thing was
Yeah.
like going into like the
It was-
roads and everything. Like,
Oh yeah, they had to shut it down. The whole
Yeah.
mainland
Forgot about
island.
that.
Yeah.
Remember Guatemala had one like at the same time?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one over there too.
Yep.
Or is it Honduras? One of those, right? And then that one killed a shitload of people, bro.
Uh-huh.
That one was like a super
Yeah,
volcano.
killed like 2,000, 3,000.
Volcanoes are pretty nuclear too, right?
Mhm.
They disperse.
Oh, huge. Yeah,
Huge
absolutely.
amount.
That would be probably the most natural
The most natural
Yeah.
radiation.
cause
gases
of
on the-
radiation.
yeah,
on the planet,
I think.
All the gases and
Yep.
shit.
and all the stuff that happens
That
there.
just makes it up. as
No,
So
it
what is
explodes.
lava is called magma when it's
It said it's
Liquid
a
magma.
flowing,
State
right?
at
When
its
it's
wet
liquid.
state,
Yeah.
And then what is lava when it dries?
No, it's,
no, it's
lava rock? I
It's
don't know.
magma when it's wet, like lava rock when it dries.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you
Something
can
like
find
that,
lava rocks and have
Yeah, and
them.
magma is the liquid hot state
But
of
it's
it.
supposed to have
Yeah.
a lot of good properties too. I know they probably use it for this or whatever. I don't
Uh,
know. It's
I
crazy.
know-
Making
porous
swords.
rock.
I know once
Leaking
it can fertilize anything. So
Oh, that's right.
yeah, once it's done, I mean it can
new
can,
life springs
out of
forth.
Oh yeah, because then
Yeah.
you always see like twigs grow out
Yeah,
of it,
because
or
look
like,
at Hawaii, bro. Hawaii's like,
grass, especially
Yeah.
grass. You'll see start growing out of it once
Yeah.
the
Just
lava
wait a
pools.
second. Something just freaked me out about islands. They're surrounded by salt water,
Uh-huh.
like Hawaii,
Mhm.
but it's fertile as like fuck.
Yeah.
So I just need to probably read about
That's
like
the lava.
biology.
That's the
and
lava.
stuff.
That lava.
What's going on with
Filtration
islands?
Yeah.
How do
Yep.
islands fucking maintain?
Yeah, how do
how
they get their
So lava rock is natural filters.
filters it into fresh water for the
Yep.
island or what?
And so when it hits that rock and it's coming into the mainland, none of that salt is coming through. It's
That's tight.
It's just
naturalizing
natural
the water.
purifying
Yeah, it's
it, yeah.
naturalizing the
The
water.
I
charcoal,
just got
the lava,
amazed by
all
that. That's cool.
Yeah. Hey, Hawaii would be a place to actually go and really
Explore a little bit.
explore and
Oh, I've seen a lot of pictures.
Any of y'all
and
ever been to
people's
Hawaii?
Videos
Yeah.
from Hawaii, dude.
I've
It
been a
looks
few times.
amazing.
Was it
like-
Jesse that was saying that he thinks life started in Hawaii? Was that Jesse? I'm sorry to not quote
Sounds
him.
familiar, but I don't
Yeah.
want to hold him to it. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, man, I've been taking
I've
in so
heard
much
that somewhere.
information.
Because I
Yeah.
think in Hawaii, I believe it's Hawaii. I don't want to get it completely wrong, but I think it's in Hawaii where they have this big open like grassland park type thing where you could go and they have prehistoric dinosaur bones. that are just like stuck in the island that they just left there.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, dude.
I'd like to go see that.
I saw that on somebody's video, and I was like, "Where's this at?" And I believe, yeah, it was in Hawaii.
That's dope.
Yeah, it
On
looked,
the beach in
looked amazing, dude.
Hawaii.
You guys ever had an out of body experience?
Oh, we gonna talk about that?
You guys know what an out of body experience is? Here's the definition
Auto body
I got
shop?
from
Out
Google.
of body shop.
From Google.com.
All
A
right.
sensation of being outside one's own body, typically of floating and being able to observe one's self from a distance. You guys ever had any of those? I've never had an out of body
I don't
experience
think so.
that I could think
I had
of.
one when I was, and with oddly enough, I remember when I was a kid, like a baby, I think like 2, which kind of makes me question it a lot, but it's really vivid, and it's kind of one of my earliest memories. But I just remember my dad was leaving the house, and I remember watching myself, like looking down at myself. I was, like I said, probably like 2 years old, jumping out of the crib, and like climbing over it, and then running to the front door to get for my dad. And they're like, "What are you doing?" And I remember him putting me back in, and I jumped over again. They're like, "What the hell? How do you keep getting out?" And it's really vivid, but I remember that, and I was, like I said, maybe 3 at the max.
Damn.
It's crazy.
Interesting.
I've had one. So remember when we were talking about the floating and like going through the neighborhoods, and so I remember at the same, like I was pretty young. I was maybe about like 12 years old. And there's a couple weird things about the house that I grew up in. My grandfather built the house that I grew up in. And my uncles, my mother, my aunt, they all grew up in that house. So there was some kind of things that happened, like I guess like supernatural things. But we'll talk about that later. But as far as me, the room that I used to sleep in, I used to sleep on a bunk bed with my brother, and I used to sleep on the top bunk. And I was in the room alone. It was a Saturday. It was like a weekend night where everyone was in the living room watching movies, and I had fell asleep in the car coming home from like the friend's house. So our dad put me in the room, put me on my bunk bed, and they were all watching movies in the living room. And it was pretty late at night, and I remember waking up because I was cold, and I can't sleep without a blanket. That's just something I've always done, and I've never let my feet come out of underneath the blanket. It's
I feel you, bro. I gotta have a blanket.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck how hot it is outside.
exactly. I can't sleep without a blanket. It's like
They say that's a fetal thing. That's
Really?
and you notice a lot of people sleep in the
On their
fetal
side.
position.
Oh, yeah.
How you sleep apparently
my
says
spot.
a lot about you.
Little fitito.
On your back, on your side, curled like that.
yeah,
But
yeah. So
the weight is like the womb of the blanket. The weight of the blanket.
that's a good. I'm gonna have to do some
Yeah.
more research on that. See if it's like how your psyche is built and stuff.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I remember waking up and like visually waking up and seeing the ceiling, but the ceiling was like way closer. And I was looking down, and this wasn't the out of body. I want to explain this room first. So like in this room that I slept in, I was being levitated out of my bed, and I remember looking down, grabbing onto the post of my bed,
What?
and my legs still continuing to go up into the air. So I start screaming, and I start trying to kick my legs to come down. And as I'm doing that, I'm screaming, and I'm like trying to make all this commotion, wondering if I'm asleep or not. And I finally like get free, and as like the weight like drops, because I'm like obviously like up in the air, I fall to the ground, just like straight like out of the air to the ground. And I try to open the door to my room, and I can't open the door. It's just like locked, like it won't open. So finally my dad hears me screaming, and he kicks the door in, and I run out of the room, and he's like, what happened, and I was telling him like, hey, I was like, lifted up out of the air. And I don't know if they believe me. I think they were just like, you had a nightmare, and but he did kick open the door, you know what I mean? Like it was one of the things where he had to like hit the shoulder and open the door.
Was it locked or was it like just not opening?
That I don't know.
That's
so
what's
out of
crazy.
fright. Yeah, out of fright, I can't say that it was locked or that it was unlocked and
You
that I
probably
was
locked
just
it
like-
trying to open it, and then you're like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I'm locked.
But you remember the fear.
Oh
or
yeah,
whatever.
I was just scared to
Yeah.
death.
The
So,
realness of that.
Yeah, and like my adrenaline going. So with that being said,
That's an abduction.
that was my room. So that was my room. So check this out now. So here's where I would have these out of body experiences because it was more than once. It used to happen a lot.
Damn.
And so I used to always, when I was younger, I used to sleep a lot, man. I used to love to sleep. So I used to, every time like they would be like, you want to take a nap? I was already, I had my pillow and blanket. I was ready to go. And so like I remember being able to,
How old were you?
this is all through my younger years.
Okay.
So from that time when I got levitated off the
Yeah.
bed, probably all the way into like 13.
Shit.
So like
a
from
year?
like 8, no, from 8 to 13,
No,
like
did you
5
say
years.
12? I thought you said 12.
No, like it was like so I was like maybe 7 or 8 when I started
shit,
having
okay.
the out of body experience.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was-
yeah. I thought you
so
said 12. Sorry.
no, 12 was when I had that
one,
levitation thing. So 5 years, 6 years maybe in between. So what would happen is I would be asleep in my room. That's where it would start. And I could like feel myself just like get super light and like not have a care in the world, not have like a like weight was different. It was like I felt like air. And I would see my room, and then I would see like I'd look down and I could see like what I wouldn't really think of it as myself. I would just see like
Some dude
presence
sleeping.
of like a blanket and like that where I would be, and never consciously say, hey, that's me, that's my physical body.
That's Psych Von Doom.
Yeah, like I wouldn't think of it like that. I wouldn't even look at myself. I would just go, and like I would go out of the house, and I could see, this is the trippiest part, I could see the roofs of every house in my neighborhood and know exactly what the roofs look like, the top of the trees. But the only thing is I couldn't like fly. It was like I used to have to gain this momentum and almost walk through the air. And like it would be like running in the air, and you would let it go up a little
This
bit
was
higher,
supernatural over here.
and you would float down. Like you wouldn't stay
Something
up there.
walking.
You would have to like get this
It's
momentum.
like a sequence.
Yeah, and like here's the trippiest part though. So talking about the owls, in that neighborhood where I would like be, looking over all this stuff, there was like 2 white owls that lived in this neighborhood in this big ass tree, and these owls, like their wingspan was like 4.5 feet wide when they would like open up like all the way. And I used to think about how I would be flying like these owls, because we would see the owls only at night, and they were so quiet. One thing I wanted to mention about the owls is they're predators. They're super conscious like birds. They're like always looking for food. They're always like on.
Amazing hunters.
Yeah. And they would glide over our neighborhoods at night and not make a sound. Like you just had to see them and know that they were there. And so through these experiences, like I would do that, and it would only be in my neighborhood. It would never be, I would never have these outside of this house. So whenever I would sleep in this house, that's the only time I would ever have them dreams or whatever they were, the experiences. And here's the other thing. I only had nightmares in this house as well, too. Not to say I don't have nightmares elsewhere, but I mean, like, vivid, reoccurring nightmares. And I think Broly had talked about being shot like 2 or 3 podcasts ago. I remember feeling Swiss cheesed up before, and I had fell asleep on both of my arms.
That's crazy.
And when I woke up, like, they were limp, and I couldn't move them. And
Yeah.
it was all, like, I thought there were bullet holes in the dream. Yeah, it was the trippiest. Like, I used to have the most vivid dreams. So going into the elevation real quick, because I know it's a long, stretched out story. But so the nightmares, they used to be never of a person or anything. All I could tell you is that whenever I would try to leave that house, like run away, like anything, something invisible just used to grab me and just like draw me back, and I could never escape this thing. And it was always like in the corner.
Where is this house?
12th Avenue and Southern. Yeah. My mom still lives in there. So there's some tripped out shit that goes on there. And I had this ex-girlfriend. And so here's the supernatural, I guess, side of it. My uncle, like during like his high school years, he had went with some friends to go. They were doing some drugs. They were gonna go swimming in this canal. He jumps in. He breaks his neck. They leave him there. They never.
Whoa.
Yeah. So. Yeah, he was pretty much missing, and they took his bike back to the house, left his bike there, and they were kids, they were scared, they didn't know, so they finally admitted to leaving him there.
Right.
So man, the story gets kind of crazy because people used to knock on the window at night, and we would look out there, and there'd be nothing there, things would move around at night and stuff like that. So the really tripped out story is I was dating this girl at the time. And she used to talk in her sleep like all the time, and it was always like really weird. And she would have these conversations and stuff. And she goes to my mom's house for the first time because my mom still lives there. And she falls asleep on the couch, and she starts talking in her sleep. And we could have my mom in here, and she'll tell you exactly her perspective of the story. So my ex-girlfriend's having
call
this.
her.
She's having. Oh, yeah, that'd be funny, huh? She's having this conversation with this things. She's literally got up and was talking, moving her hands and everything. So, as soon as she woke up all frightful and scared, and we were like, "You all right? What happened?" And she goes, "Well," she goes, "This is really weird." She goes, "I don't know how to tell you guys this." She's all, "But this young kid comes to me and tells me that he lives here and that he wants me to go help him find his bike that is supposed to be on the side of the house right here."
What?
Yeah, and my mom just kind of plays it off and starts laughing and stuff, and she's like, "Oh yeah, that's my brother Jimmy," and all this stuff. And I'm looking at everybody in the room, and I'm like, "What?"
That's wild.
Yeah, what's going on? So this thing goes on where they never moved out of that house. So I don't know if they ever had closure or whatever they need to do. I don't know what exactly transpired back then, but it's so weird that it kind of goes into the supernatural side where maybe out of body experience is a suggestive thing where it's things like that happened all the time in that house. People would have nightmares. They would have
Weird shit.
Well,
Yeah.
people coming into them in dreams and stuff.
Do you remember her conversation?
No.
What she was saying?
And maybe girl had those special powers to talk to the.
Yeah,
the
she was
spirits
kind of
or
tuned
whatever,
into that too. Because that happened in New Mexico too when we were over there. Actually, we're in El Paso, Texas. She was stroking, she was petting this little girl's hair, talking to her in Spanish in El Paso, Texas.
In her sleep?
Hey, no lie, dude. Hey, so I'm a non-believer in that stuff. To me, I gotta see it to believe it. Something's gotta
Yeah.
happen to me. Until then, I'm just skeptical. Fully.
That's how I am.
Fully, right?
Yeah, I like to see a ghost or anything like that pull up to me, and actually.
So you
see
could
it.
say, yeah.
Yeah,
so you
so
could
be
say.
okay, now we're
it's
talking.
real.
Yeah.
Hey, so check this out. So she's asleep. She's talking to this thing in Spanish, and she's stroking its hair. So the skeptic comes up, and I'm putting my hand through where I'm not even joking. I'm laughing. I'm what?
Where?
I'm what's going on? And I'm passing my hand through there. So this is where shit got real, where I stopped fucking around and I started sweating. She went from being all nice, stroking, petting this thing or whatever, to she gasped. She was and then I just hear in the rocks just movement, right outside of the window that we're sleeping next to in the living room. And then she wakes up, and I was like, "What the hell was that?" And then she goes, "Hey, because it's not she just pops out and knows that I'm standing there and is about to tell me this story. I gotta be "Yo, man, you were talking in your sleep. What was going on?" So she tells me that was a little girl that lived there, and the bad man was coming to get her, and she took off running. And I swear to you, I heard the rocks right in front of the window, somebody running through the rocks. So apparently this little girl was killed in that house that her sister lives in, and they found that out later. And her sister was in there talking to this spirit, and Yeah, the bad man that she was talking about is the entity that lives in that house. And when I was going to take a shower, they had all these. They have like young kids, and I was in the restroom, and I was right about to take my shirt off. And when I pulled my shirt over my head, I looked, and I thought I saw one of the kids standing there, right next to the shower, in the shower, like, you know, like kind of like pulled the curtain and then was like in the shower. And I'm like, whoa, you know, I was like about to pull my shirt down, and I looked, and I was all. So then I opened the door, and I like looked, and I was all, what the, you know, and nothing was there. So after I took the shower and I went into the living room, and I go, yeah, man, that was crazy, dude. I thought one of the kids was in the bathroom when I was in there. And then they were like where, in the restroom? And I go, yeah. And they were like, and I go, yeah, that shower curtain. Like I was staring right at the shower curtain. And they said like 3 people have seen a kid in that restroom. And it was like her sister, and me now. And I was all, yeah, so like people that you know, she was in tune to that stuff, I guess, like wanted to be in tune to it. But I've never experienced anything, but those are some of the craziest things that, you know, I've come in contact with, and actually, you know, was present to see those little small things.
Yeah, I found a story on a patient, Dr. Charles Tart. So he studied a lady who kept having out-of-body experiences.
Yeah.
So they put her in a room. The dude fucking stayed awake the whole time, and they hit a number on like a shelf on top of her. They hit the number, and after she fell asleep, and she had to write down the number she saw on her out-of-body experience on a piece of paper, and it kept matching, dude. And these fools tried to see if it reflect. The only thing they said that it could reflect off of was this clock, but they tried to do like they couldn't see shit from it, you know, from that angle. And yeah, the professor was there, the doctor was there the whole time, making sure she didn't wake up and cheated. So that's fucking.
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah, so that's a trip. There's a lot of studies though that say they're real, bro.
Yeah.
There's a TED talk about how out-of-body experiences could help, like depression, fucking addiction, all kinds of shit. Like you could self-induce probably with like hypnotism, maybe, right?
They do
Being
hypnotism. There's sleep, like induced ways of doing it. I'm sure they got more like ways. You know, a lot of those like hypnotists, you know, they do repressive, like they'll put you under, like, you know, like kind of put you to sleep for a while, and then through your process of you sleeping, they'll try to put you under hypnosis, stuff like that.
Nice. So that's thank you for sharing the story about your floating experience, dude.
Yeah, man, that's
dope.
just crazy. You know, and I never thought about it until like maybe the past like 8 years ago, like just thinking, like reminiscing, because my girlfriend had asked me, she's like, yeah, you don't dream anymore, huh? And I was like, not when I smoke. Like whenever I smoke, it's lights out. Like I do you guys dream when you smoke?
No,
No, that's why I don't have dreams. I can't recall like the last dream I had, or I might have one, but like they're not even like important, I guess, because
if I have a dream,
they don't stay.
Yeah,
in
if
the
you
mind.
don't smoke though, your mind just starts running like like, you know, not nonstop. And you know, that's one of the reasons why I like smoking, is because it's like I remain focused more. But when your mind just wanders, it's just like exercising itself for no reason, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
I quit smoking like 10 years ago for
Yeah.
a while, and then I would have the wildest dreams, bro.
Yep.
Crazy dreams, like
Yep.
movies and shit.
Yeah.
I'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Shit never happens when I'm high.
Yeah, no,
Never.
that's something it does suppress, like, I guess just like brain chatter, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of like you just sleep. You get like that full like body sleep, you know?
Hell yeah. So fucking let's go into Sykes Fines. We skipped over that.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Oh,
let's-
yeah,
let's-
yeah,
let's
I
shoot.
think
find
about
out
Sykes
what-
Fines.
Well,
man.
let me first apologize to the listeners. We were a little bit late today because I was with my boy Mask. Shout out to Mask, BR crew. He bought a locker And so there's like online auctions that you could go to, or you could go in person and you could pick up these lockers.
What? That's dope.
Yeah, he paid $60. Yo, I was keeping in contact with him while we were on the cast, because I told him, I said, hey, let me know what's up when you look up that, your finds and stuff, right? So I want to pass this around,
Yeah,
dude.
but what did he find?
So I helped him throw half of it away, but he paid $60 for this locker. And it was funny because I don't know why he bought it. Like, that's the thing. Like, I'm more of a perceptionist. I gotta see it. I gotta know what's in. I kind of gotta make maybe the boxes were some sort of writing that I could make out. This dude just goes blindly in on it. There was baby shit in there, like strollers and like, right? And I'm like, why?
Like real baby shit or baby
Yeah, like
stuff?
no. Yeah, there was probably baby shit in there because there was like bags of diapers and shit. So I
yummy.
guarantee there was something in there. So check it out, man. I'm gonna pass this around, but I pulled this watch out right here. So it was in this Adidas box and shit, and it could have went to the trash, but instead we just looked it all through. So it says Swiss Oris Carlos Cost 1000M titanium chrono diver watch, limited edition to 2000, which I told him. I was like, yo, yours is 1640 whatever. So this watch was sold for $1,999.50, and I'll show you the picture of the watch too, like right after that. So that's a guaranteed sold
That's
sale.
worth the $60 right there.
to $2,000.
Hell yeah.
And
That's the resale value?
Yeah, like that's what it
Wow.
sold on eBay. Like this
Oh,
recent
wow.
one just sold.
Nice.
Is it in a
Nice.
box and everything?
No,
or
no,
just-
no,
okay,
it's loose,
but
and
the-
neither is that one.
It's a nice
that one's
looking little
loose.
watch.
Hey, but that's only one of 3 watches.
There was in there?
Yeah.
Nice.
So my find. So that's why I was late. I was helping out Mask. I wanted to go with him and
Second set eyes.
Yep, and go through that, and to me that's very exciting. That's like the digging. That's like getting into it and stuff. So what I found
He
though,
was gonna throw that away?
no, like how you could just throw stuff away not knowing, like you could reach in
Oh,
a sock.
he thought it was in trash. A trash
Yeah,
box.
yeah, but you have to fine tooth comb everything. Yeah, because like one time I was
Check the
gonna.
pockets.
Yeah, like Jose found $400 in a Hawaiian T-shirt before. Yeah, it was a like a button-up Hawaiian shirt.
Nice.
And my roommate was like, "Yo, these Hawaiian shits go for money," and I was like, "Get the fuck out of here! I'm not even trying to hear you talk about selling Hawaiian T-shirts." Right? That was what
Yeah.
I said. The next day, like this is the power of like if you can if you can believe it and you speak it and manifest it. My roommate goes we were out hunting. We went to this like yard sale, and there he goes straight to the pile of clothes, and I'm over here looking up some other stuff, and he buys this shirt for $1 at this yard sale. And he said he felt something in the pocket, so he like kind of peeked in there, and then he just paid for the shirts, and then we walked away and we jumped in the truck, and he like waited until we got like down the road, and he goes, "Hey man, I felt something in the pocket when I looked in there," and he goes, it was $100 bill. And then I was like, "No way, dude."
Nice.
So he stops the truck, we pull over after we get down the street, and he pulls out a wad of $100 bills. There was $400 bills in this pocket that he paid $1 for the T-shirt.
Dang, someone put their rainy day, whatever. Needed
I was like, wow. So you can't.
That's
It's
what
That's why they're
that's
selling
your
all that
casino
stuff. They
money.
needed that money.
I know they needed that money, and if they would have just
I can spend this much, and then forgot.
yeah, and he just walked. He
'Cause he had a
walked right
bigger
past
wad in this
it.
pocket.
That's why we're having
You
the.
separate,
That's why we're having the garage sale, because they were fucking missing that money.
Yeah, that's what we said. Yeah, that was the whole reason why they had to have it, because they lost the
Told you
dough.
not to spend that for it, and now we gotta have a fucking yard sale.
Just get that
They're gonna
400.
sell all your Hawaiian shirts.
Yeah.
Sell all your Hawaiian shit. This
Oh,
is why
yeah.
we're
Yeah.
in this
Money
case.
back.
You probably
Fucking dope.
spent it all on Hawaiian
Um,
It's like a movie.
That was funny though. But here's what I got. So I was out,
this
you
is
know,
the
I was hitting
picture of
the
his, the
estate
one they
sales.
found.
Yeah, that's the actual photo. Yeah, that's the photo.
Oh, I
Oh,
wanna
you were
see the
going through my.
actual one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
yeah.
is the. So look at the. You know, it's not scratched. It's.
No,
I wish he would have
it's
sent a
in good
little bit
shape.
more. Yeah, it's in good shape, dude.
Except that one's was the other one the same strap or was
Yep.
it a different strap?
Not
Strap
same.
on.
Yeah.
Strap on dial.
All right, and then here's what I got. So
That's worth more than $1.
I don't know if there's any Pokemon fans in the crib, like listeners, anything like that. But I hit this lick of like a bunch of Pokemon stuff. So there was like these collector's pins in there.
Oh, duh.
Yeah,
Oh,
so these
what?
are like in case
It's
that
like
little
that
camera's
enamel,
back there.
right?
Yeah, these are enamel pins, and I'm guessing. Like I looked up Mew. This is Mew right here. He goes for about like $10.
I
So
was gonna say $8.
yeah, about $8.
It's worth something.
So there's like this thing's full of them. So I'm gonna pass that around. But
Oh hell yeah! I wanna
there's
look
buttons in there
look
that
through
go to
that.
the game. And then so what it was is this person was a Pokemon dealer, and they were getting out of the game, and they were just like, "Yo, man, make me an offer on this stuff." So I was like, "Cool, man. Well, like, I was like, I'm happy to just take whatever you were
Your good instinct.
asking or whatever, and then we'll just go from there." So he charged me $80 for like everything that I had got, which I thought was way fair because I buy a lot of pins, mostly Disney, or like collectors pins, like pop, so like rock
Right.
pins, anything pop culture. But these are like full of dice, and then like I keep these tins. But when I looked at the pins, I was like, on average, he was charging 2 for $5. So like I was like, oh, those are all mine. I was like, I'm gonna get the canisters. I'm gonna get, this is full of all the holographic cards. So he had separated like all his basic cards away from the like money cards, and I just asked the guy like, well, how much for this tin right here? And he just threw it in for $10.
Wow.
But yeah, if you look, like, it's full of like all the like
So will
hollows.
you sell those individually?
Yeah, because some could go for big bucks.
You got Charmeleon.
Possibly. Oh no,
How
I do
much you
got
want for him?
I got Charmeleon, but it's not like the old vintage
Charizard?
ones. Yeah. Charizard is in here, but watch, look.
Charlander.
So these are like the newer stuff.
You know,
like
you know who you should hit up
2016,
to that'll probably want to look through this stuff is Idiom. He's a
Oh
big-
yeah, I just texted him actually.
I had some
Idiot,
books
I mean.
that would crack you guys up from my childhood.
What you got?
And growing up in like Texas churches and stuff, there was these books about something. One was called The Something in the Toy Box. And they would go
Indian
through
in
and
the
talk
cupboard?
about how all this stuff was a cult or like. yeah.
Really? Oh,
And
snap.
it would be fun to read as an adult now. You know what I mean? It'd be fun to read these crazy.
yeah,
But I remember Pokemon coming up a lot.
yeah, big time. Like that,
As
probably
if they
Harry
were
Potter.
controlling, like
yeah.
they were going to control America with this, or whatever.
If you think about it, it kind of is like that because you have to think back to the oldest forms of magic and stuff. So
Yeah, exactly.
sorcery, the cards,
Exactly.
reading tarot. So that's all this is. It's just
exactly.
the same
So
thing.
they relate it to, it's like an
Yeah.
entry to dark magic
Yeah.
or like an introduction.
Yep, just like how people call. I don't say this. This is retarded, but how they say weed is gateway. You know what I
Right.
mean? Which is bullshit. But yeah, that's same kind of stress they're trying to put on it. But through these finds, so just to let you guys know, like I paid $80. Like I mean, I haven't looked up the cards. There was a little bit more to it too. I left them at home, but there were these Pokemon balls with puzzles in them. Those were dope. Yeah, I left those because it was like a little bit too much stuff
Hell
to carry.
yeah.
But I'd say it's about 300 plus, to sell, and I could sell it really fast.
What do these Pogs go for?
So those aren't Pogs; those go to the sets of the card game. So
They're
every
markers.
yeah, every year that you come out with a new Pokemon set, you get one of those. Like it's the series that it represents.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
right
cool.
And like Mike was saying, they use them on the game itself
you
as
get
a
a
marker.
commemorative marker.
Yeah, yeah. Did you play? Were you
No,
like?
I just
No.
use that term from like in poker it would
Pogs.
be a
Oh,
small
okay.
blind or a big blind button
Same
that
thing,
you pass
yep.
around, yes, to show position and stuff.
Yep. Yeah. And yeah, that one's cool, huh? A little cassette player. Yeah, that one's dope. It's a Loot Crate exclusive, which is like a monthly subscription that
How
you
much
could
you
get.
want for this?
Oh, 35.
We'll talk.
If
We'll
you-
talk after. Yeah,
If you
yeah,
want to part with it.
We'll talk off air.
Yeah.
yeah. We'll talk off air. We got
30
I'm gonna
yeah.
put it in here. Just
Okay.
That's a good 35. Good 35 bucks.
Quick
Yeah, it's about $70 right there.
Yeah.
Pay for the whole lot, you know.
I'll give
Exactly.
it 2 for 80.
So, one thing I wanted to kind of like
Oh, this is
talk about this whole flipping thing is
best
so right now, like, I don't believe in paying taxes. Like, me personally, this is just my own personal take on it. Like, I don't really
Same as Amazon.
yeah,
Or
right.
whoever.
Billions of dollars though that they get to write off. So
Mhm.
like me, I'm maybe maybe a couple $1,000, maybe 6,000, like at max, and they're writing off billions of dollars.
The easiest ones are always got me in Texas. Every office building that would open up would have corn next to it. And I remember when some old guy told me, he's like, you know why they grow corn in every field? They purposely put part of their land to grow corn to now zero tax it out. It's agriculture land as long as you have an
Wow.
acre of corn.
Yeah.
So they just trash the corn, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and just let it die.
And then just don't pay taxes on their big campus, you know?
Hey, how much you want for this tape? Now, just fucking with you.
$80. No, just kidding.
Bidding war.
45.
So we have this is the first live auction going on the
shit.
Great Beyond podcast. We have $5 over it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But
How do you connect that to flipping? What was your-
so the thing. So with taxes, this is what I was gonna say. I was paying taxes. I was abiding by the rules. I was doing all this, and then what I realized is I was like, man, I got in trouble because I had got another job where I was working at the video game art place and I was making a lot of money, and I got hit with the that tax, the 10 whatever, like 1090 or whatever.
1099?
Yeah, 1099.
Self-employment?
Self-employment. I got that hit at the end of the year. I didn't listen. I didn't put away that money on the side. I just was blowing cash like I was rich. So I had to I was at the time I was doing the legal route and I was doing everything right. So I paid the taxes. And this is the part that I was just like, man, this goes into those corn crops and how these people get over on big business gets over. All I did was I talked to the IRS, and this is how I know it's illegal. Like back when we first wrote taxes into the Constitution about how we would tax the population, it was supposed to be for it was a voluntary. So voluntarily you would put in money and stuff like that, and then they changed it to privatized, like
After the New Deal,
Yes.
FDR.
Yep. And they privatized it, so now they got like big banks to make it illegal, so where they can go into your home, start taking your possessions,
Right.
even you can go to jail. You know
Don't
what
trust
I mean?
banks.
Yeah. So
Like what Battles said.
right.
Alexander Hamilton said that.
All of them
put all
said
your
it.
trust in
All
it,
of
yes.
our presidents, our forefathers, they all said the minute we start trusting banks and the minute we go to a privatized banking system, that is the end, of like the way we deem our freedom. So, with that long story being said, they were basically willing to negotiate that money, which tells you that if it was really the law, they would have made you pay the full amount. But first thing they do is they waive all their bullshit fees and they knock it back down to the original amount, and then they take off money on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
So really all you have to do is just not claim your taxes and then just work out a deal with them at the end of the year and pay only a portion of it.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you can't go to jail for not paying your taxes. You can only go to jail for cheating on your
Right.
taxes.
So
hence Wesley Snipes, a famous case.
You mean for not paying taxes?
Yeah, not
you
paying
cannot
taxes.
go to jail for not paying your taxes or your medical bills or
Mhm.
whatever, your credit card.
Because eventually they'll get you. They'll stick you when you get that
Yeah,
money.
and they're going to
Yeah.
get what you got. They know
Right.
you don't have any money.
Right.
But it's cheating on your taxes that is a federal offense.
As when
Yeah.
you do have money, that's when they're going to get you. Because eventually you're going to report something. one
Yeah,
day.
evasion when you start washing money and
That
doing
is
all that.
exactly.
Yeah, that's
now
how
you're
yeah.
into criminal activity.
Well,
Right.
dirty. That fool never done his.
but not
taxes
having
in his
money
life,
is
like-
not a criminal
Let's all
offense.
sign out for the video portion of it real quick. We're running out of
See you
space.
later,
Peace
guys.
out, YouTube. And I'll
Yeah, we'll see ya.
So
we could keep going, though.
I was just like, yo, why not be a better businessman and just negotiate at the end of the year?
Mhm.
That's what all business does. So, like we said, Amazon.
Right.
Oh, well, guys, look, we only netted this much billion, so we're still under the 6 billion you allowed us, so we don't got to pay the taxes. And it's totally like it's accepted. They get tax breaks, like they're kind of gunning for like the number one position for like money made, right?
Mhm.
Like they're
Yeah,
up
and
there.
I would assume, I don't know if they do this lobbying themselves or if they're involved with a PAC or a super PAC.
It's got to be, man.
that goes in
Yeah.
ahead of them.
Yep.
And just lays all the groundwork, and
Yeah.
you just you grease those people up, and they're professionals.
Yeah, and they
Political
slide right
Action
in.
Committee is
Yeah.
one of the scariest things we have.
Yeah. So until now, like I've been just buying and selling pretty much like just in general, like in person, stuff like that. But what I was gonna say is I could have really been like a really big business maker, because dude, since I've been on eBay, I just want to bring up this little fact for you guys. Look at how much money I've made on eBay since.
When you do it,
Allegedly.
baby.
Allegedly, yeah,
Revenue
yeah.
Check.
This
Allegedly.
well, first of all, this
Remember,
is like
this is
including their
Sigmund Dean.
shipping. This is all the stuff that they so this isn't
A
like,
grand
they
total?
tacked on, yeah, they tacked on like just the grand
Service
total.
fees and what?
Everything. So like I didn't really bank this amount. It's like,
Like
it's like a
Ticketmaster?
gross amount. So the gross amount since the time that I've like started this account is, hold on, it's calculating. Calculating. Let's see.
$1 billion.
$87,000
Holy shit.
28 cents, and
Wow, that's a
that-
lot of work.
yeah, that's 2,106
That's a lot of buttons.
transactions.
Wow. I got a bunch of toys I need to sell.
87,000 players. So imagine if I was,
pimping.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. If I was doing it like 100%, like all day, like just really doing it, you know,
Well,
That-
yeah, you're charging $80 for a pin.
for a pin. Hey, you
So-
got that?
People are buying,
You
you
want-
I
know.
know, right?
PayPal me right now, and it's yours.
Go and
Alright.
lock that in.
I don't have PayPal.
So-
Nah, just wait till
I
he
don't
puts
trust
it,
banks.
put it on eBay so you can buy it
right.
off
I
eBay.
know, man. That's the bad thing about
yeah,
PayPal.
you can catch
and
me
all
on
that
eBay
stuff.
at
Yeah.
/
Hey,
Yeah.
Bitcoin me.
Sykes fine.
You got to
Psych
Bitcoin
dog,
me, dude.
Von Doom dog.
PsychVonD.org.
Hey, now it's Psych Nephilim, remember?
Damn, that's pretty
nuts,
fucking
bro. 87K.
amazing.
87K, dude. Just straight. No.
No holds barred.
And how
No
many
holds
transactions?
2001.
2,106 to be exact. And I just got feedback right now. So this dude said, nicest seller ever. Very accommodating, exactly as described. Well packaged. Thanks.
Time to listen to
Peace.
From the Great Beyond. So
Well
you get to
packaged.
know
Real
even
deal.
more.
Yeah.
How's he know what your package size is?
He saw it through the shorts.
Dang, that's cool.
Yeah,
on
make
on,
some
on eBay?
little, Sykes finds things you can put one in each package.
Dude, that'd
you
be
know,
sick. Yeah.
with your links and stuff.
Mm,
You know what? I'm
yeah.
gonna. So if you guys want to, actually, for the podcast too, I'll even put them in there because we talk about the finds every
Yeah, the
week,
Sykes
too.
finds,
true.
bro.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's dope,
Fuck
man.
yeah, let's,
Yeah, I love
uh,
that segment.
yeah.
That was sweet.
Let's
Oh,
close
yeah,
out
dude.
the show. Any final thoughts, Miguelito?
I think. No, I think I'm good.
Franquito?
No, just keep a lookout. We're gonna be doing some big things at the end of the month, revolving all forms of art, mainly based around graffiti, with the school, teaming up with a lot of people from the community, doing it the right way, and yeah, really excited. August is gonna the school year is gonna be popped off with some really good shit. So just keep a lookout, and there goes all the
There goes
buttons.
Sykes finds.
Half price.
Revenue just
Oh,
went down
shit.
like
So-
8%.
So
$15 pen in that little boombox. Who want it?
On sale right now.
King J?
No, no really final
Brody?
thoughts.
Just it was a great show, and
Yeah.
shout out all the listeners, you know, from the great beyond. Keep on climbing beyond, and if you have any out of body experiences, definitely hit us up. We'd like to find with people and bring them in and see what they got to offer. Hit us up on the Roach Clip podcast on the gram, Roach Clip Brody on the Snap. Yeah, it's a dope fucking show.
Psych?
Thanks again, guys. You know, I'm usually cordial. I'm always early, but yeah, this was a good show. I wanted to do that out of body experience thing too. I wanted to get somebody, maybe somebody other than us, like another person X, you know, somebody in.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we'll work that out in the future for one of those guys. But yeah, closing. I think it's really cool that everything we talked about. I wish I would have had a little bit better information, but those were all things that I studied. So I think every week I'm just gonna notate after I watch these docs or read.
I like the
these.
jumping off points anyway.
Yeah.
So I never feel bad that we. You know,
Yeah, that it mixes around and it
Mhm.
goes off cancer. But yeah, what was I gonna say about coming up? Oh, okay, so for the listeners, in 2 weeks we're gonna have a guest coming back from Roswell.
Oh,
So,
hell yeah. 2
they-
weeks. I'm
They
excited.
live in Roswell. They have a lot of stories. So we're just not going to specifically focus on one. We're just going to interview them. And they're a big smoker, too, so that's always good. But
Always good.
yeah, this is what I was going to ask to the listeners, you know, anybody out there that does have an out-of-body experience, like even listening to the show or anything, you know, and that's tapping in, tuning into another frequency. Let us know how we're doing out there, on them extragalactic radio waves,
Hell
Intergalactic, planetary,
Send the sign.
planetary.
Yo, when's the music section of the podcast coming?
Next week.
Next? Oh,
Let's do it.
No,
snap.
you just brought it up.
Dang.
You
Maybe
got-
I'm not ready for next week.
Oh.
Still need to get some needles.
Do you have some setup or anything you could bring?
A little bit. Yeah, I just need to get a couple things like needles and stuff like that. And then.
All right. Let me know, dude, and I'll try to help you out with whatever I can.
Cool.
All right. Hell yeah. And,
For what? Music?
Yeah. Throw a little DJ set.
Oh,
at
all
the
right.
end, an
Little music
intergalactic
break.
music break.
I'm down for some.
We'll do like
Intergalactic,
a
planetary,
half-hour break in
planetary,
between the show.
intergalactic.
I like that. And
Yeah,
then
it'll
we'll
be
come back.
music focusing on the show.
Theme a little bit.
Yep.
Exactly.
All right.
all
I
that.
like that. I
Oh,
like that.
UFO sounds.
Oh,
Hell
I got
yeah.
those. I got that.
I like to
I got
recommend that documentary on Netflix, The Family. So if you guys, it's gonna show you that this is all facts, dude. A secret Christian group that lives in Capitol Hill.
The family.
It's The Family. That's what they call themselves, and that's pretty much what runs everything, bro. It talks about all these powerful people that you've never even heard of, bro, but they're in the background in every picture, famous picture. There's that vato. He's like this super Christian, but Christians are saying this isn't even Christianity, bro. They don't even read the Bible. They read this book that just says Jesus, dude, on the
on the front.
on the front, dude, and
And
it's way
Jesus.
smaller than the Bible, and that's what they live by, bro.
No gay
They
Jesus.
pretty much say Jesus is not a pussy, and they try to instill that on the members. There was 12 members, I think, and yeah, check it out, The Family. Closing thoughts is shout out Jesus again, handling the camera
Shout
work.
out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shout out Syke, shout out Brody, King J, Franco, Miguelito. We're
Dolo.
going to continue to do this every week for you guys, except on holidays or whatever. You never know what's going to pop off, but we're going to try to do this every Saturday. See what Syke comes with next week, because he came with some super dope finds.
Garbage Pail Kid cards next
It
week.
gives me a week worth of
I
fun
like
stuff
that.
to look at. It's
Exactly.
fun sometimes at night to.
And
Pop
shout,
down.
ooh, look at that.
Whoa.
That's, next week we're going to talk about those. I like that. Garbage Pail Kids cards.
Originals or reprints?
Both.
Nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, fuck Epstein, and you guys just keep your head up. We are from the great beyond.
Time goes by. It goes by fast.
Yeah, it does, man.
I think Ducky's here.
Dude, yeah, we didn't even talk about
We were
The pond?
talk about that.